I read his profile. Mr. Shadrach Ehrin is a seasoned financial management professional with a robust background in commercial and personal banking for 11 years. Currently, he serves as business relationship officer at Cal Bank Limited in Tarkwa, managing and growing the bank's income from commercial customers. He holds a master's. He holds a master of business and technology management, that's finance and investment, from the University of Mines and Technology, Ghana, and a Bachelor of Arts in Geography and Resource Development from the University of Ghana. He also has a single subject diploma in Human Resources Management from the Institute of Commercial Management, that is ICM, UK, and various certificates in ethics, financial planning, and customer relationship management. Shadrach has worked with Fidelity Bank Ghana Limited and Macaulay Capital. His dedication is evident in his numerous accomplishments, including being selected as a star performer multiple times at both Fidelity Bank and Macaulay Capital Limited. Hello, I would want to present to you Mr. Shadrach Ehrin. Mr. Shadrach, if you are here, kindly take over.
All right, thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you clearly.
All right. Thank you, Abednego. Thank you, the entire team. Thank you, Negosa.
Yes,
please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So thank you for giving me this platform to share with you guys navigating life after school. And we are looking at the financial bits of it that's after school. Okay. And this evening, I'm going to use myself as a case study so that we all will learn from what I did and the plans I put in place after service, right? Let me say after school. So please, can I share my screen?
Yes, please, you can.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, it's very clear. We can see us.
All right. So I've themed my topic for discussion, fundamentals of financial management. And since we are looking at navigating life after school, we are looking at the financial bit. And today we'll be looking at the fundamentals. That's 101, the basics. And in our next season, then we look into the various KPIs under financial management. But for today or this evening, we want to go through the financial basis. Okay. As I rightly said earlier on, said I'll be using myself as a case study. All right. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we do hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I know most of us here are Christians, and I'll be taking a quotation from the Bible, Proverbs 21, verse 20. That's the Good News Translator. It says, wise people live in wealth and luxury, but stupid people spend their money as fast as they get it. Let me repeat. Wise people live in wealth and luxury, but stupid people spend their money as fast as they get it. And I'm praying that after this session, we will be part of the wealthy people, we will be part of those living in wealth and luxury. Okay. All right. So my slides is only 4. I won't take much of your time since it's basics. and I welcome questions from you guys. Okay, so principles of financial management. We all know financial management is how you manage your finances. Okay, and I have 6 principles of financial management if you want to manage your finances very well as a student, as a worker, and even as a parent. You have to go through these 6 principles. Principle number 1 is financial goals. I believe you all have goals in this life, right from KG to university. And if you are in the university, your goal is either to get a first class or a second class upper. Okay, and if you are in JSS, your goal is to get your 10 ones, your 8 ones, and 9 ones. Financials also they have goals you need to attach to it. Goals, in a way, I'll call it our financial purpose, your purpose, your goals. And before you achieve this particular principle, you need to have a SMART goals. I call it SMART, the acronym SMART, S-M-E-R-T, SMART goals. S stands for specific. So if you want, or if you've arranged for a goal, the goal should be specific. The objective should be specific. What do you want at the end of the day? For example, if we are in the university at level 400, what we want is either a first class or a second class upper. It's specific. And you need to work at it. You need to work at it. The M stands for measurable. The goal should be measured so that you know the progress of your goal. So for example, with the specific, if I want to achieve these financial goals, I need to set a target. Let me say a target for myself. That's fine. To be specific, at the end of my service, I want 5,000. I want to keep 5,000. It's specific. At the end of my service, I want to keep 10,000. It's specific. And measurable. The M means measurable. You need to measure your progress. Fine, you said you want 5,000, 10,000 at the end of the service. So every quarter or every biannual, you need to measure yourself, how far you've gone with that particular goal of yours. The A is attainable. Attainable. You should be able to attain it, get it by hook or crook. Because it's specific, it's measurable, you need to attain it by hook or crook. And the R is realistic. It should be realistic. You know that service you are taking, for example, you're taking 1,000. You can't tell me that you want to save 20,000 at the end of your service. It's not possible. And it's not realistic. It's either you steal some or you do your dubious ways to get the 20,000. But if you want to follow it, the 20,000 is not realistic because what you are getting at the end of the month can't compensate for the 20,000. Hello, please. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And the T is time bound. It should be time bound. For example, we know that service period is a 12 month, and at the start of the service, you plan that you want, let me say 5,000 at the end of service. So it's 1 year. So it's time bound. It has a time. So likewise, if you are working, you need to have a time bound. Let's say I want to achieve 10,000 in 3 months. So the 3 months is a time bound. Okay. All right. So let's go to the second principle. Let me brush over the first principle. I'm saying the first principle is financial goals. You need to have goals for yourself. You need to set goals, financial goals for yourself. The second principle is being disciplined or self-control. Discipline comes from the word disciple, and disciple is to follow. So you need to follow your goals you set for yourself. You need to be to have self-control over that particular money. Be disciplined. So as I said, I'll use myself as a case study. When I was doing my service, I told myself at the end of the day, because our time we were taking like 330 Ghana cedis, and I planned that at the end of the service, I should get 1,500 cedis. Because you know the 300, the 330 Ghana cedis at the end of the year is 3,300. Let me say 3,600, 3,900. So I gave, or I set a goal for myself that at the end of the service, I should save 1,500. And being disciplined, what I did was to get envelopes, because in all our doings, you need to spend. So I got 5 envelopes. Each envelope, I label it. If it's my transportation, I write it on top, transportation, feeding. I write it on top of another envelope. And other bills, I write it. So at the end of the month, when they give me the 330, I will put my transportation in the envelope. I will put my feeding and other bills in that envelope. So the rest, I'll put it in the bank. So these 3 envelopes will be with me in the house. So I'll go in whenever I need my transportation. I'll just pick one, pick it from the transportation envelope. I will use it. If I need feeding, I'll pick it. So I was disciplined. And I follow my goals, because since I have planned to get the 1,500, I should get it at the end of my service. And having self-control means don't allow money to control you. Because some of us, when you get money, we will let the money control us, to tell us what to do with it. But you have to control the money. You have to tell the money, like give the money an assignment, if you want to only be self-control. Okay. The third principle is to have a budget. If you want to achieve this, if you want to achieve your financial goals, if you want to be disciplined or be self-control, you need to have a budget. And I love this particular principle. My wife usually calls me Mr. Budget Man. You need to have a budget. It's a must. And budget simply means an estimate of your income and your expenditure for a set period of time. So it stipulates your income and your expenditure. You need to have a budget. You need to bring all your expenses against your income. So as I said, you are taking as a national service personnel, or as a new worker. Let's say you are taking 2,000, 3,000, 1,000. That's your income that is coming to you. List all your expenditure. Your expenses include your transportation, your feeding, paying of bills, maybe sending your parents some token your tithe, they are all expenditure. You need to list all your expenditures against your income. And at the end of the day, your income must satisfy your expenditure. So if your expenditure is more than your income, you start to borrow. And I'm praying that all of us here will not borrow. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Amen.
So if your expenditure is more than your income, then you are in danger. As a new worker or as a new employee, as an national service personnel, don't allow your expenditure to exceed your income. Never do that. So every month, what I do is, if this month I want, let me say, I want a phone, and I know this particular month, all my budget expenditure is exhausted, I won't add the phone to it. I'll probably add it to next month's budget. Only if I have room to accommodate the phone. So anytime if someone brings something, tell the person it's not in your budget. You will include it maybe in your budget the following month or any other day. Be disciplined. Have your budget. And keep your expenses as low as possible, even if when you are getting higher compensation. Some people, they make this mistake. Let's say they are national service, they are taking 1,000, they get employed, they are being paid 3,000, they are being paid 5,000. You see that their expenditure will increase. And it's a sign of a danger. Do your best to maintain that particular expenditure you are having now doing your national service. Maybe after 2 or 3 years after you've worked, then you can increase your expenditure. Don't be show boy. Charlie, Charlie, I can spend. No. Other than that, you can't be able to save if you want to achieve that financial goal you've set for yourself. The fourth on the principle is having an emergency fund. This is very critical. And anytime I meet people, I preach this particular principle, having an emergency fund. It will be embarrassing that you are working. Everybody knows you are working. And you call a friend, Charlie, 1,000, 500, to the extent of 50 cedis. It's a shame. It's a shame. In order for you not to face that particular shame, have an emergency fund. Someone asked me, what's the difference between emergency fund and your savings? Emergency funds, they are there in case of emergencies, unforeseen circumstances. For example, your phone can get crashed or can be stolen. You should have a fund or a particular money to cater for that lost phone. You don't have to necessarily call a friend to borrow you money. No. You are working. So having an emergency fund is very, very, very critical. And this emergency fund goes to those that will get employment, not the national service, because as national service personnel, you have 1,000, you spend everything. But if and you are employed, please have emergency fund. For you to have an emergency fund, you know that you are taking, let's say, if you are employed, you are taking 2,000, you are taking 3,000 at the end of the month. So you put some aside for the emergency fund. And as for me, what I tell people is that whatever you are taking, your gross, not your net, your gross, you need to have 6 times of that particular gross as your emergency fund. So assuming your gross is, let's say, 3,000, and at the end of the day, your net is 2,500. You need to get 18,000 as an emergency fund if you are working as an emergency fund. And for you to do that particular savings, you need to put in place a savings habit for you to get there. Some will tell you 3 months. Some will tell you 6 months. But for me, I prefer the 6 months because when there is crisis at the workplace or redundancy, watch your class 6 months there, you get something to do. And this emergency fund will help you in times of difficulties or in times of the redundancy period. You have some money to spend. All right. And the last one on the principle is savings habit or savings culture. You need to build that savings culture like consciously. And yes, it will be for so it's consciously. Because already, first principle, you have your goals in place. You are being disciplined. You have a budget. You are following your budget. You've created your emergency fund. You need to have a savings. What I tell people is, what you save today will save you tomorrow. And you know, money, as we see it, money has a past. Money has a present. And money has a future. Please don't forget this. I'm saying that money has a past, money has a present, and money has a future. It has a past because we've already accumulated bills before we receive our salaries. Because there are bills waiting for our income. So it has a past. And the present is the ongoing bills or the current bills we have in front of us. And future, money will have a future for you only if you save and invest. It's very critical. And mostly, if you want to invest, you have to save first. Save first before you invest. If you jump from the savings and investment, at the end of the day, you will spend your investment. So if you have your savings in place, you have your investment in place, you have your emergency in place, emergency fund in place, you are good to go. You won't show, you won't borrow, you won't even go to friends to ask for money. You'll be okay. You'll be okay as a new worker. You'll be okay as a service personnel. You'll be okay. You have all these things in place. And with the savings culture, we have rules. We have rules for you to save or for you to develop the savings culture. So I'll go to my next slide. Please, do you see my next slide?
Yes, we can see your next slide.
All right, thank you very much. So with the rules of savings, there are so many rules, but for the purpose of this gathering, since it's fundamentals 101, we are looking at just these 2 rules. The first rule says 10, 20, 30, 40 rules. And I've added percentage to it. So 10%, 20%, 30%, and 40% rule, all together making 100%. So assuming you've earned an income or your salary has come, you need to divide the salary into this percentage. And the first one goes to maybe if you are a Christian, you can use this. Even if you are a Muslim, then you use the second rule, or you can use even the first if you are a Muslim. Because Muslims, I know you give zakat. So it's a form of tithe. All right. So first rule, the 10, 20, 30, 40 rule. So the 10% is your tithe. And please, as a Christian, don't forget your tithe. Give it to God, because he has watched over you for 30 days, 30 solid days. And you need to show appreciation to God by giving the 10% tithe. 20% is the savings I'm talking about. So you set aside 20% of your income or your salary as savings. And out of these savings that you get the investment, and out of these savings that you're going to get what? Your emergency fund. The 30% is debt. If you don't have debt, if you're not owing anybody, then you add the 30% to what? The 20%, making 50%. So if I were you, if I add this 30% to 20%, I will use 10% to build my emergency fund. Every month, 10% goes into my emergency fund. And with the savings, if you get maybe enough money, now the treasury bill, the treasury bills, they are the risk-free investment. You can even start with 500 cedis. So maybe if you have a savings of 1,000, a savings of 2,000, bear in mind, I earlier on said that you need to save before you can invest. So you've saved 2,000. So out of the 2,000, you can even invest 1,000 at T-bills, at fixed deposits. So you have your investment running for you, you have your savings account, and you have your 10% emergency fund there. And the 40% is the general expenses. That's why I said budget is very important. The 40% is the general expenses. And make sure your expenditure falls within the 40%. Don't go beyond the 40%. Never go beyond the 40%. So that's your expenditure. So this 40% will compensate for the expenditure you've listed. The same thing applies to the second rule. You have 75%, you have 15%, you have the 10%. If you're not a Christian, 75% is your general expenses. That's your expenditure. 15% is your investment. 10% is your savings. And believe me, you will achieve your financial goals easily. You will achieve it easily. And before I will end my presentation, I want to leave something that is very dear to my heart. In case you are in crisis, in case you are in difficulties, like financially, please do this. I said, if you are in crisis, the solution is in the crisis. The solution is in the crisis. The C is cut down expenditure. Cut down expenditure. If your expenditures are very high, cut down to 50%. The R is resolve your priorities. Spend more on your needs than your wants. The R is resolve your priorities. So you have to get like prioritize your expenditure. and don't focus more on your want, but the need. The I is ignore what makes you spend more. Reduce your taste. I know most of us, we have taste. But in case you are in financial crisis, or maybe if you want to come out from the financial crisis, I know most of you after service, you've spent everything. And I'm praying for you that you get a job. So immediately you get a job, please apply this principle I'm just mentioning. That's the crisis principle. The S, suspend all major projects that drain much of your finances or drain much of your income. You need to suspend it for a period, maybe for 6 months or for a year. After a year, you can continue with the project. If you are okay, then you continue with it. The I, impress nobody again. Don't impress anybody. If you used to impress people, please stop. Stop. Never impress anybody. Because so don't impress people. Live within your means. If you can afford something, why not? If not, master, keep your money. And the last S is save more. So back to our rule for savings, you save more of your income. Thank you. I don't know if you have question. You guys gave me 30 minutes. I hope I'm within time. All right, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was an amazing session. And yes, you were absolutely within time, right on time. I think being disciplined is really a trait of yours. Thank you very much. That was very, very informative. I'm sure we've all learned so much. I mean, I am not a final year student starting national service, but I can't believe I went through national service without this knowledge. This would have really helped me. I probably would be the billionaire in the world now. Jeff Bezos will be my secretary or something. But thank you so much. That was a very great session. So I think just to recap a few things, I think I really, really liked the crisis part, where crisis was breaking down into such financial terms. So one, we've all learned about cutting down our expenses. We need to resolve our priorities. We need to invest in ourselves and in the right things. We also need to suspend all major progresses that are not really relevant after cutting down your expenses and doing all of that. And impress nobody is one of the most important things. I think sometimes we forget that we can't be impressing people. National service is a very, very serious season of our lives. So very, very serious season. And then the last one is to save. Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. My first expectation has been absolutely met. That's great. So are there any other questions that we have that we'd like to ask our key speaker on managing our finances during our national service period, or any other season that you might be in? Is there anyone? You can raise your hand and then we'll call you, so we have coordination in the session. Okay, I can see Awal has a question. Awal, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Awal. Please proceed and ask your question.
Okay. Please, my question is, in case you, let me say you are a breadwinner of let me say a house, wherever you have a lot of pets that are depending on you, parents, wife, children, and the rest. And maybe you draw that budget and you come with a lot of, what do you call it, demands. In case of that, like, how are you going to manage and maintain your discipline? And by, what do you call it, and also not like, you don't want to also hurt them in a way. So that is my question.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we have one question. Let's take one more so that our speaker can answer the two. And then at the latter end, we'll take a few more so we can move to the next speaker. Anyone else with another question? Please raise your hand so we call you. Is there anyone else with another question on your finances, how to manage your finances in this season? Okay, Florence has raised her hand. Florence, please proceed and speak.
Okay, please, the speaker was talking about we should invest. And I want to ask that the investment, let's say you are a student, you don't have anything, but you are planning to save something. How can we invest? Is it in we should do bank investment, or we should have business idea that we should invest in?
Amazing.
that-
That's also a good question. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So, Mr. Shadrach.
Hello,
Yes.
Principal.
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you, Awal, and the other participant.
Florence.
Florence. All right. Thank you very much for the question. Okay, so let me go straight to our question. With your family members, if you die today, they will live, right? Or they will also die?
No.
Awal. Hello, Awal. All right. So what I'm trying to say is, it's your budget. And you need to be principled with your budget. If they bring a request, and you know it's not within your budget, tell them maybe next month or maybe at that time. But as you speak, your budget is full. Be disciplined. That's principle number 2. Be disciplined, because we have a goal. You have a goal that you want to achieve. And don't let this request bring you back. You have a goal, because at the end of the day, if you die, life continues. Wow, please. So let's be disciplined. Have a budget. That's why I said my wife called me budget man. If she brings anything to the table, I'll tell her it's not in the budget for now. So maybe at that time or next month, then I'll fix it in the budget, because I have a goal to achieve at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, if you are a breadwinner and you don't take very good care of yourself, you die and leave them. And your entire objective will fail as a person. So please be disciplined. Be principled with your budget. All right, thank you. And Florence, investment, I said save before you invest. So as a student, you know that you are not working. And if you try to invest, you will spend all the investment, trust me. But you can save small, have a saving goal that, okay, fine. From level 100 to 400, I want to save 5,000 Ghana cedis. So then after 5,000 Ghana cedis, you can invest the 5,000 Ghana cedis. And if you open an account, they have several products. When you come to Cowbank, we have a product whereby you can put a standing order on your account, and they'll be deducting into that particular savings account or that particular investment account for you. So let's say every month you can save 50 cedis, you can save 100 cedis. You can open that particular account with Cowbank. Then they'll be doing that for you till the 4th year. After the 4th year, and you've achieved your objective, let's say you've achieved the 5,000, you can then invest the 5,000 and go for a national service. Or maybe you can even use part of the 5,000 to rent an apartment if you are going for a service, a national service. Okay? And it's good, you need to invest in the business ideas as a second source of income to you as a student. So please, the investment, you save before you invest. If you go straight to investment, you will chop or you spend your investment. So save, have a savings culture. Have a goal. Let's say you are in level 200, 300. Okay, give yourself a goal that at the end of 400, I want to get 2,000 as my saving in my savings account. Plan towards that particular one. For the investment, I don't know of you. Maybe you are in a rich, like you come from a rich home. That one is different. Then that one need to save and invest at the same time. But some of us, if you invest, you will spend it. The bill say, can watch me. I need to get a handout. I need to get this. You need to get that, and you eat from your investment. But if you have savings, at least the savings will help you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I don't know if
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Shadrach. That was a very good session. Thank you. So I think we've all had a lot of information. Don't worry if you have any other questions at the end of the event. We would all organize for other people to come in with other questions that they have, every other audience. So please keep your questions, keep writing them down as we proceed. If you haven't had the chance, there's still more opportunity for you. But without much ado, we'd like to move on to our next speaker for the day or the night. We've talked a lot about finances, and now we need to learn, because starting a business, you need finance, you need a lot of things. We need so much. And so can we get the profile of our next speaker on to tell us about starting a business? She's going to give us a very detailed session from idea to execution. How you can start your business, how you can achieve your goals, wherever you want to get to. She's going to get it all for us. So can we get the profile? Okay, so as we wait for them to start with the profile, so what we do is that I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about what you stand to gain if you actually stay online without distractions, keep your network stable and everything, and listen to the session. This topic will cover a lot of the processes that would run from turning your idea from a business idea into a reality. She's going to tell us about market research. She's going to tell us about how you plan the business, how you can secure funding. We've just learned how to manage money. So you save the money during national service, and after that, you want to start a business. What do you do? Where do you go to? Who do you speak to? And so we're going to just have that. But let me just read the profile of our speaker so that we can proceed from there. Okay. So Miss Alexandra Boakye is an esteemed CEO. She is the esteemed CEO of Educate Africa. She's a renowned learning and development consultant in the IT sector. And all through her professional journey, it has been marked with a deep commitment to nurturing talent and fostering educational growth. Now, beyond her corporate consulting engagements, Madame Boakye has dedicated her time to support all students at all academic levels, final years, second years, third years, everyone, even undergraduates, master's students, PhD students who are pursuing IT-related programs. Now, what she seeks to do through Educate Africa is that she provides partial scholarships for professional cybersecurity certifications. The very, very esteemed woman who has this program, and it has significantly impacted the life of many aspiring students. This has also attracted interest from students who are across the globe in other countries as well. Also highlighting the effectiveness of broad appeal. Highlighting the effectiveness of broad appeal of this Educate Africa. Madame Boakye's philanthropic efforts are always supported by a dedicated team of volunteers from different continents, Asia, Africa, Europe, all of them, and they all contribute to their community. Today, she's here to tell us about how to start a business, because she has done it and she has flourished. She has created Educate Africa, which is making changes, providing scholarships to people in cybersecurity. And so today she's here to share with us how we can transform our ideas into execution. Without much ado, if Madame Alexandra Boakye is here, can you please take over and then give us your session?
Okay, hi, Priscilla. I think I had a message from Madame Alexandra. She's traveling at the moment, so but then she has given us someone to stand in for her. I think Philip, Jima, if you are here, kindly take over. Hello, Philip. Philip Jima, are you here? Oh, okay. I
Hi, can
think
you hear me?
yes, we can hear you now. Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for the opportunity once again. And my name is Philip Jima Apia. I am the current CEO of Ideation Axis, the personal assistant to Madam Alexandra, and then also the personal assistant to the CEO of the Digital Transformation Hub. And I'm so excited to be here. In fact, Madam Alex really wanted to be here, but she had an emergency, and then she asked me to stand in for her. So I hope you are going to cooperate. I mean, just like if she was to be here. Thank you. So first of all, we are looking at starting a business just from ideas. And in fact, I'm actually an example of starting a business from an ideas. What is a business? What is an idea? What is an entrepreneurship? And normally when we talk about business, being in Africa, we think about a lot of things. I remember back in 2018, I told my dad, Daddy, I don't want to work for anyone. I want to work for myself. He just looked at me and said, "You are sorry to say," said, "You are stupid." Because looking at someone at that age trying to tell them, "I want to build my own business," they look at themselves and basically they are all people working for other people. So they have the mindset that you starting your own business is quite very, very difficult. And yes, that is the system we have in Africa. Wake up, go to school, learn hard, get a good grade, and after school, get a good job, and they'll tell you to marry and have a family. It's like a cycle they've created for us, and it's really hurting us, in fact. So this session, we are going to look at how you'll be able to start business just from a single idea. Okay. Now, how do you start a business? First of all, you need to decide what you want to do. What is it that you want to do? So I'll start by using myself as an example, how I came about to the whole of Ideation Axis. And as I said, I was in JHS by then. That was somewhere 2018. I was about to go to SHS1 and I told my dad that. So I was like, Daddy, me, I want to start my own business. And then they told me everything what they told me. Like whatever they said, I took it. And meanwhile, I was also very determined. I wanted to move forward. So I just got myself a plan, as in what do I want to do? Because there are so many businesses, there are so many people all over the world. What can I do to solve the world's problem? So basically, starting a business starts from finding a problem. So look at what is happening. Look at what people are not able to do. Look at the problem that people are basically facing. And once you know the problem that people are facing, you'll be able to know what to do. So let's look at this. Back in 2018, I realized that a lot of people, especially Africans, find it very difficult to set up their own business. So my business was to help people build businesses back from 2018. Began working on research work, and I even found out that 40% of the country's GDP stands on the small and medium scale enterprises, that is the SMEs, which means if my business, which is to help people grow businesses, is to come into a reality, I'll be able to push Ghana's GDP, way beyond what we have currently. So that was the problem I identified. People having its difficulty, like they having to go through a lot of things to find a niche or to find a business that they have to do. You get it? So you basically have to find a problem, just where there is a problem, and look at the impact that problem is having. Then based on that, you can know that, okay, this is where I want to go in there. So over there, I came with the whole idea of Ideation Axis, but it wasn't like Ideation Axis. By now, maybe you've seen or you've seen how refined it is. It was just a scratch, like just an idea. But then we used to call it I2 Innovation, I2 Innovation, and then basically just ideas to innovation. I didn't even know if it could become like very, 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 very big and have a lot of impact. I was just thinking of like innovating and helping people to also innovate and build businesses. And that is basically how it works. You find the problem, you find the impact the problem is having on the economy or on however you find yourself, you find the impact. Then based on that, you'll be able to know that, okay, if this is the impact, then I'll be able to work around it this way. Now, once you have the problem, you have the impact, you need to look out for the people that you want to serve. So decide who you want to serve, and focus on the people that you really want to serve. For instance, with my idea, I look out for the fact that people are not able to build businesses in Africa, especially the youth. So my target was, I am going to come up with a comprehensive system that will help, like a template, a blueprint that will help the youth to come up with their own businesses. So the moment you come into the system, from start to the end, that is from ideation to the launching of the business, you are supposed to do everything within the system. The system can guide you to do everything, right? And I realized that if I am to build this system for the old age, they cannot use it, because one of the main problems that Africa is really lacking is the slow adaptation to technology. So I found out that the people that I really have to focus on is the youth, because if I have a system, the best way I can push it is the youth, because they easily adapt to changes. Look at when Snapchat came into existence, and look at the number of people using Snapchat now. Basically, the youth, and everyone has gotten adapted to it. Social media, the youth dominated. I mean, all the tech industries or systems we have are basically dominated by the youth. So if I am also coming up for the tech industry, then my target obviously have to be the youth. So they are the people that I'm focusing on, and they are the people that will help me to execute my business. Now, once I have the people that I want to focus on, the third thing you need to look out for is the thing that actually make you different. So I realized that, okay, well, look at this. We have Cosmos Innovation Center. When you go to UMAT, we have UMAT Business Incubation Hub. When you go to Kumasi, they have Kumasi Business Incubation Hub. There are a lot of innovation centers and venture studios across the world and even in Africa here. So what is the thing that is going to set me apart? What can make me different from all these people? And this is actually where research actually come into place. So it help you to also know, we call it the market research. So you do more research to find the thing that actually sets you apart, what you can actually build your business on. Because if you are coming to tell me you want to do Sobolo when other people are doing Sobolo, what value do you have that I should buy yours? What difference are you doing that you want me to buy into yours? Do you get it? So for mine, what I identified is, okay, so for the venture studios, basically, their job is they normally reach out to the grants from government and then some non-governmental NGOs. Some also reach out to some investors who invest to support countries like African countries who basically don't have money. I mean, there are people that donate to support African. Bill Gates every year donates huge sums of money to support Africa. And this money normally goes into development of the nation, which they put some into businesses and all that. So these people basically reach out to other people, get money from them, and then use that to take them through their system. Another thing I found out is also most of them don't really have a system. So if they exclude themselves, the business people cannot thrive. They have a system in such a way that, okay, so if I want to do a business, at this point, they will take me through this. After that, they will take me through this. So I'll be working from one person to another, even though they will guide me through the stages, incubation and all that. I'll be working from one person to another, and just like that. So if they exclude themselves, I myself cannot try, because I don't have anyone to guide me. You get, so what if there are about 2,000 people who want to set up businesses? This means that these people will have to sort them out. That is why normally they do what we call pitching and competition, so that they can get at most 5 people or 10 people, or even 1 or 2 or 3 people that they can support. What happens to the rest? They go home just like that to get the knowledge they give them. And knowledge without finances, you may not be able to execute your plans. So the problem is they don't have a working system that they can execute themselves. Like they can actually live for the system to work for them. So what then can I do? We've developed, and then we are also refining a system that if you are a startup, when you come into the system, Philip will not tell you to do this, do that. You just go to the system. The system does everything for you. In fact, you have an artificial intelligence. At this point, oh, you have an idea. What is the idea you have? Okay, I want to develop a solution to solve the issue of post-harvest losses. Then the AI will ask you, well, how are you going to do it? What do you want to do? Then you feed in what you want to do. The AI will help you to refine your idea. So once you refine your idea, the AI will tell you, okay, now with the idea generation. Now let's look at the business name. What name do you want? The AI will help you choose a unique name When you are done, what else do you need? The AI will help you generate a business logo. When you are done, what else do you need? The AI will help you draft your business plan. So instead of Cosmos Innovation Center taking you through training for you to go and sit down 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to write your business plan, now AI do it for you within 15 minutes, and my system can do that for you. You get it? So basically, with my system that we have worked on or we are working on, you can actually go through it, and it can basically do everything you want, even without me myself telling you to do this. And if I have 15 people, 100, 2,000 people, all of them can use it, and all of them will be able to build ideas into businesses within 24 hours, which these existing businesses will have to take like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or even months. So normally when they're taking you through the incubation period, 1 month, they will train you like a lot of trainings for you to come up with these things. What is the essence of the training? To help you work on your research work and come up with your business. Meanwhile, AI can just do all this research. We can have an API that can actually fetch out all the data from sites like scholar.google.com. Those of you who are PhD and master students here, you know Google Scholar, whereby we fetch articles from. So even without going to industries, I can fetch these articles, like 15 articles at the same time, process it and give a data to my candidates. You will have to take them through all this process. It takes a lot of time. So they will definitely come to me. You get it? So you basically have to look at what will set you apart from the people that currently operate or currently have their systems down. And once you finish with that, the most important thing is the number 4, managing your cash flow. And I was very excited to see the first speaker talking about cash flow, how you basically manage your funds, your finance, investment, savings, and all that. And it's very, very important. You need to know how to manage your cash flows. And I'm going to recommend this book for you. I don't want to talk more about this because the first speaker covered most of the content in there. I want to recommend this book for you, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It is very good and it can really help you to manage your cash flow. It talks about the BNI cash flow. If you don't know the BNI cash flow, basically the cash flow quadrant, it help you know your position. We have the E section, the S section, the B section, and then the I section. The E at the top left corner, the S at the top left, but that's the bottom down, and then we have the I section at the top right corner, and then we have the B section at the top, sorry, the bottom right corner. Yes, that is the BNI cash flow. You can just search for it and then you know how to know your position within the BNI cash flow and then know how you use your funds. It is very important. If you don't manage how you use your funds, your business will collapse. And it has happened to me multiple times. It got to a time where I even have to spend my hostel fee to pay my people. I mean, it shouldn't have been something like that. You get it? If you really know how to manage your funds. Meanwhile, I was working as a cybersecurity person and I was also taking salary. What happened to the money? This person will just come, oh, Philip, can you give me this? Because they know you are a student and then you are working. They know that, oh, you don't really have like a lot of needs. So when they come, Philip, give me this, then you give it to them. You are not a charity. You don't do charity. Do you get it? If you have charity to do, go to the church or basically have your own plans. At this point, I'll go and donate to these people. You don't have to wait for someone to come and tell you, give me this, give me that. They will turn you into something that they will always use you. So have a system, a working system for your finance. If you don't do that, you will not get money to fund your business. And then one of the problem also is a lot of people depend on going to pitch their ideas before they get money to do their business. That is the wrong. Don't think of pitching your ideas before you make money to do your business. Or this can take you up to 5 years before you win. Because what happens is a lot of people have a lot of experiences. Okay, a lot of people have experiences. They will come today, they will not win, they will go and refine, they will come back. That is everyone's hope. So if they don't get it, they'll go and come. Now you also want to go and compete with them. You are new in the system. You also have to try and make a mistake, It will take you like 3, 4, 5 years. There's just a few people that are able to pitch and win at the same time, like the first time they start. But it doesn't really work like that. So if you want to set up a business, manage your cash flow and set up a system that will keep on giving you money to build your business. So me knowing that I need $1 million to build Ideation Access, I did set up a new business. That business was actually running. Okay, I know that students really innovate, and myself, I'm an innovator, and I train a lot of people. So I have access to a lot of students. So why don't I just sell material that can help them innovate, so that we use that to make money and bring that funds back to come and support Ideation Axis. You get that? So you don't really have to put your trust in pitching competitions, else it will take time before you'll be able to make it. And don't also put your mind on your salary, because your salary will not be enough to fund your business. You need to have a working system, a system that will keep on generating money for you. What if tomorrow you wake up and they tell you to quit your job? I remember back in 2012, 2013 or so, when Anglo Gold Ashanti Obuasi mine collapsed. My dad was a worker over there, and then he has to come home. So if he had any plans by then, what was going to happen? Is he not going to get a salary? And of course, yes, my dad basically did not have any savings plan, but we were fortunate my mom had, and that is what actually kept us going. So what happens if you lose your job or anything happens to your job? Are you not going to get a working system? If you own a business, the business is for you, and they keep on giving you money to fund your big ideas. Sometimes you waiting to get a very big money to start a business is a mistake. And I would advise you that if you want to start a business, don't start a business with money. If you start a business with money, the probability that you collapse the business is very, very high. The reason is, a lot of people start business right from ideas, like how we started the whole vision of Ideation Axis without money and all that. I mean, we have done a lot of research work. We have known everything we need to know, everything we need to do. Now, the only thing we need is money. So if we have the money, we know where to push it to. Now, you have the money and you are now looking for what to do. Because you have the money, you have to use the money to try and error. We have done the try and error with just research work. And now research work, we did not really lose money. The only thing we lost was time, which we actually made good use of it. Because if we make a mistake with the time, we can always recover it. But the mistake we made told us we should not do it this way, rather we should do it this way. And it's not teaching us, but you are putting in money, and if you put in money, you lose both time and money at the same time. And it becomes very difficult for you to recover it. So if you are waiting for a very big money before you also start a business, it's a very big bet. You can't afford to do that. You will lose. So start business with just ideas. Do a lot of research work. Just research into the market, research into the product, research into the people, and know how the people are going to deal with before you even think of putting in money. And then the fifth one is managing your employees. Now, I'm talking about employees, but as a startup, it's not going to be employees. It is going to be a team. The maximum number of team I will recommend, based on my consultations and then based on things that I've actually passed through with my business, is a maximum of 5. Why am I saying this? If you have a lot of people in a business, one, you have a secret. You cannot tell all of them the big vision of the business. Do you get it? In every organization, there are some secrets that you don't know. The CEO will know. There are some secrets even the CEO might not know. The board of directors will know it. It comes down just like that. So if you reveal all the business plan to your friend, and tomorrow he goes and implement the same thing, or he goes and sell your idea to someone who have money, and then the person implements it, what are you going to say? So basically, you keep the top level idea, then you just break it down for them to know what they have to know. But this is the case that not everyone will see the vision you are seeing. The vision you are seeing is a secret you have in your head. So if you have a lot of people on board, everyone have their own expectations because they are not seeing things like how you see them. And so they need you to come up with things, like they need you to give them something before they do stuff, like a lot of things for you. For now, Ideation Axis, we have 62 active employees, and everyone have their own expectations. If you're not able to give them something, they back off. For instance, this vacation, we are having internships, like online internships for 500 students coming from 11 countries. And the people that are training them, the facilitators, you have to give them something. You have to pay them. Do you get it? Because they will not see things like how you are seeing them. And so if you keep a lot of people around you, you are going to really lose a lot of money. So find ways and means to minimize the number of people that you have, and make sure that the number of people you have, they are very productive. You yourself, you should do a lot of research work and learn a lot of skills, so that instead of you going to bring a web developer, you can do the development. You don't have to go and bring someone. Look at Zuckerberg. He started building a system before he brought in people. So if you want to just go and have just the idea and then bring a lot of people to work for you. That can also work, but it's quite difficult. You can use the principle of Warren Buffett, or you can go with the principle of Bill Gates or Zuckerberg. I mean, both of them, Bill Gates and Zuckerberg, are people, they are technical people. Okay, these are people who started building their software from scratch without money, and then they had team joining them. They are people too who have money and say, come and do this for me, come and do that, just like that. But in Africa here, if you choose to go with the principle of Buffett, it might really affect you, because Africans have different mentality towards money. So try your possible best to run lean. Okay, run lean as possible. Maybe another time, if we get opportunity to go into project management, we will talk more about what we call the Lean Six Sigma, which teaches you how to run lean with resources and people. I mean, as part of the resources you need for the project, we have the human resources and the materials. And then you should really learn how to run lean, else you are going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money. Even in software development, if you have 10 people working on a software and you have 3 people, it will shock you 3 people will finish before 10 people, because 10 people will have to coordinate among themselves. And that coordination alone can take a lot of time. But 3 people who are extremely good takes less time to coordinate, and they're able to come up with a very good system. So learn how to get a team, and then the team you're also getting to make sure everyone is passionate. Don't just bring people who love money. So when I am approaching my people, the first thing I ask them, do you want to work for money, or you are working because you want to see us grow? When you say you want to work for money, I'll bring you, all right. We give you the task. The moment you finish, we pay you, then you go your way. And we've done this for a lot of people. When they come, I mean, someone will just recommend, oh, Philip, this guy is very good. Let's bring him on board. So we're going to talk to him. Hey, can you join our company? We want you to help us with doing this. There are 2 ways we can pay you. The first one is we can actually give you money for the work you are doing. The second one is you stay with us and you grow with us. And most of them, it will shock you. They will tell you, pay me, because they don't see the vision you are seeing. That is why you need people who are very passionate, that can work with you and work with you for a long time. For now, there is this young guy I'm working with. He's in level 200, I'm 300 right now. His name is Roy. And Roy has been working with me for a long time. He never take anything. Even if I want to give it to him, unless maybe I send it without him seeing, even with that one, he will still send it back, because he knows the vision. He's very passionate. These are the people you need. I don't think that you can, like, because they are good, you need them. They are people who are ready to learn. Okay, I remember back in level 100, I got 3 good guys in my class who were very good. The guys are extremely good, like very, very good. Even right now, they are far better than the people I have in my company. But then they were not passionate, because they know that they have the skills already, so they are doing me a favor. So the business collapsed by then. That was I2 Innovation. Ideation Agris became active just last year. So it collapsed. And then when it collapsed, I learned something that I shouldn't come up with even these guys that are good. I went for those who want to learn. And Roy was someone who wasn't that good. I went for him. I provided him resources, like we bought resources that they should learn. And this guy was able to learn within 6 months. He was good. He trained people for me within 6 months. We had like 6 active people that they were really working for us. So there are people we trained. They see themselves like we actually brought them to the stage where they are. So right now, even if we pick up on and call them, can you come to Obuasi right now? It doesn't matter where they are, they will come. There was a time we were supposed to go and work on a contract in Accra. We had a quiz the next morning. I called this girl, we have to go tonight. And she said, okay, we left. We just went to the department, took a letter, and we left. She followed me, because they know what we are working on. We brought them, we trained them, and now they are part of us. You get it? And then the people that I worked with in level 100, when they saw how we are going, one approached me, Philip, I want to be your co-founder. What do you think? And I was like, no, it's not going to work, because now I have a strong team and the team is actually working. Everything you can do, even though you can work it in a fast pace, with a teamwork, we can also get it, and we're actually building it. So you don't need people that are actually very, very good. You need people that are ready to learn, people that are ready to sacrifice, and people that are very passionate and can also sacrifice with you to get there. Else you will lose time, money, and resources. Now, these are the items you need to start a business. Once you have all these things, the next one comes to when you should keep your business going, you should sustain it, like you are ready to scale it. Okay, you look at managing your customer expectations, the people that you are targeting back there in number 2. Now you need to know their expectations. Okay, because I'm targeting this people, I built this system. Now, do they really want this system? What are the features that these people want? So you also go deep into them and then know what exactly they are expecting of you. If you know what these people are expecting of you, you basically know how to go. You also have to set goals, and goals are very important. Don't set goals and leave them. Goals need what we call focus, and focus need what we call discipline. If you are disciplined on your goals, you'll be able to focus and build it. Goals need focus, and focus also needs discipline. Very important. If you lose them, you will never be able to achieve them. And also, you need to expose yourself. Today, someone made a post. It was like mistake. Just random motivational speech. He posted a video of a well-known man saying mistakes you should never make. Number 1, don't ever tell your dream to people. And I was like, I don't agree with this. He was like, why? And I went to refer a post that Dr. Daniel Macaulay made. He's actually my mentor, and I follow him a lot. And I don't know if you can see my screen. Please, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen. It is visible.
Okay. So, can someone help me read what I have on the screen?
So I'll help. When I was building MacDan Group and the businesses under it, I made a crucial mistake that hindered my growth for years. And the sad thing is that I made it over and over again. It took me a long time to fix this mistake, and when I did, it transformed the business conglomerate that you see today. This mistake that I made was that I avoided promoting myself or selling myself too much. I thought I would let my work do the talking, and that simply was not enough. But that simply was not enough, sorry. In the times we live in today, you cannot just let your work speak for you. You must speak for your work also. There are too many voices competing around you, so you must make it a priority to showcase your expertise and specialty, and you must help others see it too. Let people see how well-rounded you are as an employee. Present yourself as a good communicator who will be a brand advocate for a company. Show your skills in a good light. In essence, show your good qualities always in real life and on social media.
Thank you so much. So what is MacDan telling us? He's saying sell yourself. How can you sell
Mhm.
yourself? Sell your ideas.
Yeah.
You just have to know what to say and the people to say it to.
Mhm.
You don't go exposing everything you have to expose. Just always have a voice. Okay, have what you want to say. Because if you are approaching these people and you just want to say, okay, if you meet a big man, the first thing you say is, can you give me money? You've lost. What they need from you is your idea, and that is what can sell you. And in fact, the reason why I was able to get myself involved in the Great Africa Fence is my idea. The reason why the CEO of the Digital Transformation Hub selected me as a personal assistant is because of my idea. And I'm also working with a lot of people right now because of the idea. You just have to know what to say. Don't say too much, okay? Don't talk too much. Just have a voice. The voice is having something to say. A very important thing. I remember back then, the 3i conference that happened back then in May. I booked a session with a very known man. He's actually the governor of one bank. And then a lot of people, like, when I booked the session myself, I was wondering, is this man going to accept it? And then he accepted it, like, appointment for us to meet. And do you know what I said? I was like, hi, sir, I have a solution that can help your bank to track physical security and network security at the same time. At this point, you don't need to get a lot of employees to manage the physical security. That's the message I told the man. And this man accepted the message. And of course, yes, we met and discussed.
Wow.
You get it? So basically, it's a whole lot. You need to have a message, have a voice, have what you want to say, know what you want to say. If you know what you want to say, what you want to say, trust me, you will always get people who are ready to listen. If you want to keep your dream to yourself, you will never make it because your dream cannot sell. You can't put the thing in your room and expect it to sell in KJTR. It will never happen. Please, you get it. So always know what to say, have a voice. And one of the ways you can get a voice is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has exposed me to a lot of people. Was it yesterday? We had a board meeting for my company, and then we onboarded two people, one from UK and then one from Ghana. And all of them, I met them on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the places that can really help you. And in fact, there is one of the speakers I connected. I've really admired her work for a long time. She is Edna Pimpon. And then I know she's going to speak here. And I
Wow.
connected with her on LinkedIn, and I know we are going to talk like from time to time. So LinkedIn is a place that you can really connect with a lot of people, and they can really sell you out. They can really help you, give you a lot of opportunities. So that is that with the number 8, exposing yourself. And then the number 9, you need to persevere through the tough times because it is not going to be easy. Ideation Axis collapsed 3 times, but my inspiration was Thomas Edison. He tried 1,000 times. I tried just 3 times. What shows I should give up? So you don't have to give up, okay? You will fail. Just get yourself up and go again. And one thing you really have to know is you should always be happy to start from 0. If you want to start from the top, probably you should expect your parents to be McDan or the top people we have in Ghana, maybe Cheddar or Nanado, Baumia, or I mean the people that you know they are the top of where they can help you get the top. Else you should be very ready to start all over again from scratch. And in fact, starting from scratch help you to learn a lot. It helps you to expose yourself. It helps you to know a lot of things. Especially look at a street like how do they call this? Those on the street, there's a name they call themselves. A street person who is able to learn from the street. Like they have this insight in life that when they have money because of the street life, they know how to manage them. So when you are at the 0 point, you know how things look on the basic level. And so when you get to it can really help you to manage your stuff. Like it can really, really support you. So be ever ready to start from 0. So if your company is failing today, know that it is going to help you to stand at a point and shoot yourself to the top. And the last one is you always have to maintain your integrity. You don't have to just do everything because you want to do it for the business sake. In business, there is nothing like I have an enemy. Your father's enemy is not your enemy. Your friend's enemy is not your enemy. So in business, always make sure that you are always having this kind of integrity. See everyone as equal, respect everyone, be very, very honest, be transparent, try your possible best to collaborate with everyone as possible. Because the people you see today, you think they might not be the people who will sell your business out tomorrow. They will be the people that you will really need the most.
Exactly.
So you
Thank
really
you
have to make sure
so much.
you do
Thank you
this.
so much.
And the last thing I'm going to end with is business is about people, not about numbers. Business is about people, not about numbers. And I learned this from Pareto's principle. He's a professor that came with a principle that 80% of the consequences that happen to your business comes from 20% of the cost or of the input. So in a business, 80% of your profit will come from 20% of your customers. And the remaining 20% will come from the 80%. Assuming someone is going to KJTR to sell, let's say we are all selling pineapple. You are selling yours 10 cedis. When you go to KJTR, you can get a lot of people to buy for you. When you get 1,000 people to buy 10 cedis, it means you have 10,000. Now I will sit down and I'll add branding to mine. I'll make it a juice. I'll make it very, very nice, and I'll make my 100 cedis. I will go to East Legon. I'll get about 50 people to buy. And we are basically making the same. And I'll even make more than you. So business is about you knowing the people you are targeting, knowing the value you are providing, and not focusing only on the numbers because the numbers will fail you. If you think the numbers will do it for you, remember that 80% of your profit will come from 20% of your customers. And so know the value that you are proposing and know your people that you are targeting. Know how you can get them. Don't always think of getting a lot of people. Someone can think of selling 1 cedi to make $1 million. Let's say selling some things 1 cedi to make 1 million cedis. Basically, you need 1 million customers. Someone will sell 10 cedis to make 1 million cedis. You will need, let's say, 100,000. Someone will sell 100 to make 1 million. You will need 10,000. And that is basically how it works. The more value you are, the less number of people or customers you need. And don't forget that it always begins with you.
Thank you so
You
much.
and
Thank you
you
so much, Mr.
alone.
Philip.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Business
And
is about
if there is
people.
any question, I would
Business
love
is
to
about
ask
yes.
you to ask me.
Yes. So because of time, I think we would hold on with the questions and then introduce our next speaker. But Mr. Philip will be on the call. So at the end of the program, we're going to just collate the questions so that everybody can ask their question. Mr. Philip, would that be fine? Hello, Mr. Philip.
Hi, can you hear me, please?
Yes. Would that be fine with you to put the questions at
Um,
the end so they can ask their
okay,
question?
probably they can answer the chat room, so I can text them in the chat room.
For sure, sure. So please put your questions in the
Yeah.
chat box. If you have any questions, you address it properly for you. So thank you so
Okay,
much. That
thank you
was
so
a
much.
very good discussion. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Engineer Bismarck Ado, and Chief Engineer is going to do us the honor of introducing us to a very, very interesting session. Now, the profile of Engineer Bismarck Otto is on the screen, so if you would all join me. He is a professional in electrical/electronic engineering and energy system engineering consultant. Big man. Engineer Otto holds a first degree in electrical and electronic engineering and a master of engineering in energy systems and management, all from KNUST. And currently, he's a law student with the University of London. He's a corporate member of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, which is GHIE, and he serves on both the membership committee, professional practice, and ethics committee of the institution. He also serves as the secretary of the complaints subcommittee, and then conference and programs committee, research and awards committee as well. He currently works as an air traffic safety engineer with the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, where he serves on several committees in his company, contributing his quota to the growth of Ghana's aviation industry. He serves as an adjunct lecturer and an examiner to the same institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Engineer Bismarck. Engineer Bismarck at O2 to give us the session. Engineer, please, are you here? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you.
we see you. Yes, please, we
All
can
right.
see you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I can't hear you. I want to hear everybody. Good evening. I want to hear the
Good
response.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, engineer.
Good evening.
Very good. Have we all eaten our dinner? We are yet to eat. Okay, so we'll make this a bit more snappy so that we can.
Sir, please, we can't hear you anymore.
Yes, sorry. I think it got muted. Yes, I was saying that for the purpose of this conversation, I wanted to depart myself from actually using a PPT, but rather have a conversation with you. Just that may be the key speaker in terms of the conversation. Now, first of all, the topic I am going to handle or have a conversation with you on is networking. Networking. Now, with these very few minutes, 20 or let's say 25 minutes, you should be able to have this conversation. There's a saying that a lot of people say, who do you know? Have we all heard it before?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Very good. Now, have you also heard who knows you?
Yes.
You've also heard that one.
Yes,
Okay, we have 63 people online. Now, I would want the 63 people online, anyone who knows a minister of state, to come out. You can just raise up your finger and then come out and then tell us the particular minister of state that you know. I'm just looking through the attendance. Okay. So 10 seconds. I've not seen anybody who knows a minister of state. All right. We have Abdul Latif Azindo. Abdul, please, can you tell us the minister of state that you know? You can unmute and tell us. Abdul Latif Azindo. All right, I could perceive that maybe Mr. Abdul Latif Azindo is finding a difficulty in speaking. Now, let's come to our conversation. Today, the conversation we are going to have is not going to be the ordinary that we say, okay, who do you know? Now, who do you know has been used for over decades now. And so the who do you know card is now sort of useless. Now, whether you know somebody doesn't make any difference now, because no matter who you know, most definitely someone also knows the person. And so that card that is used is not really effective now in the streams of networking. Now, how do we relate networking in this conversation? We are talking about social bank. I don't know if any of you have heard about social bank. Now, who can tell us what social bank means? I'm looking through the list onto to identify the person who can tell us what social bank is. All right. Now, through the list, I could not see anybody who probably has an understanding about social bank. Now, social bank is the same thing classified as network, social network. Now, so your social bank is the wealth of people within your reach, should in case something happens to you, and you are to reach such people within a matter of 5 minutes. It's the same thing when you have money in your account and you reach to a bank or an ATM, in 5 minutes, you should be able to withdraw that money out from that particular bank account. If you're unable to withdraw money from that particular bank through their ATM medium, then it means that you virtually have to change your bank because your bank cannot save you in critical situations or conditions. And it's the same thing that we are going to consider this evening, that when you have a relationship or a social network, and that social network is crowded with bottlenecks, and you need 5 days, 1 month, you need appointment over appointment to be able to use that networking, then we can classify it as what? Who do you know? It means that it's not effective anymore. But when you're able to utilize that relationship with a single phone call in a matter of minutes, up to 5 minutes, then we can classify that relationship as what? Who knows you? And this is important for us to note that if you are unable to establish contact with your social network or your social bank, as in when you need, within the matter of 5 minutes, then it means that you are not in touch and in tune with that networking. All right, so now let's understand what networking means in this context and how we can create networks. So in this conversation, we are going to look at 3 key elements. 1, we are going to know how we will create the social networking. And then we'll know how we will maintain that network. And then thirdly, we'll see how we would leverage on that network. Now, before we start with the how to create a social network, please understand that your network is equals to your net worth. So N to N, or N equals N. I want to take it out again. Your networks is equals your net worth. Now understand that it is not everything that in this life money can solve. And it's not every problem that money has the power to erase. When you get to a certain social class, you realize that it's not just about the money, but it is about your social network, which can solve a lot of problems for you. Now, in this particular conversation, we'll get to understand why money has been overly identified or overly promoted in our society. And now, why we will need to understand that your social network is more valuable and can be considered to be more powerful than your money at the bank. Now, let's do an example that your network more or less can be compared to a seed. So in this particular conversation, we will compare our networks or the people we have established a relationship with as seed. Now, how do you create a network? Or how do you create that social network or social bank, if you like it? Now, for anybody who want to build a social network or a social bank, the first thing you need to do is to do self-identification or self-realization. You need to sit down and intrinsically identify yourself as a person. Know your abilities, know your capabilities, know your temperament, know your potentials that you carry, and then know the kind of relationships that you would like to build that will complement your inefficiencies. Let me take that again. Now, supposing you would want to establish a business. You have no business or you have no element if you want to establish a business now to be rather involving in people who do not have the focus, the desire, and the interest in establishing a business. Now, if you want to go into politics, as if you had identified that as your potential, there is no business in joining an organization or joining a unit that will inhibit or limit your potential. No, so now for you to be able to create a social network, you will need to identify your element, your identity, who you are, and what you want to establish or do in this life. So now let's get it straight. Number one, identify your capacity. And when you identify your capacity, you need to be able to identify your needs. And your needs must complement your inefficiencies that you have realized. Now, inefficiencies could be anything at all that you have realized that you do not have. Now, once you're able to identify that, let's keep that one for now. The next thing is to develop your mission, your vision, and your destination. Now, if I want to go to Konongo, I have no business, assuming I'm in Accra, I have no business being on board of a Salaga car. Where am I going? I want to go to Konongo. So why do I have to board a Salaga car? So identify and understand that the people you surround yourself with will establish your destination. So whatever you want to do based on your mission, vision, and the destination that you will set, that will help you to be able to identify the people you'd want to establish relationships or networks with. Just get to understand that. If you realize that your mission is to be a top-notch engineer, you have no business in spending all your time sitting at the parliament, as the boys call it, talking about football without establishing yourself in the appropriate quarters. Then you are trying to fashion yourself to be a top-notch engineer, but what do you call a sports analyst. That would not work. So you need to identify your mission, your vision, and then your destination. That will help you to now limit, because you do not need everybody. Please take note. In your element, in trying to identify the people you can partner with in your life social network, you do not need everybody, but you need everybody. Take note. The fact that you do not need everybody, it means that you cannot have the contacts, the relationships with every single human being on this planet. Much so desired, you will need to treat a lot of people that you meet and interact very well, because you do not know where you will find yourself and the required help that you will need from that person. So when I said you do not need everybody, but you actually need everybody, it means that everybody that you encounter and you engage can be a potential person that can help you in an emergency. So you treat them well and you respect them and you show them love. But that does not mean that you would have to pick every single human being that you meet phone contact and then number, and you want to establish a relationship with. That is not the case at all. All right, now let's go to the element of the career networking. You should know that you are the environment you find yourself in, and you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. Let's take that again. The people that you call them friends, you call them besties, you call them family, or whatever you call them, who have a close-knit circuit relationship with you, will determine the kind of future that you would attain. Very, very important. So now, once you establish your vision, mission, and statement, or where your destination will be, you need to realize that you have to classify boundaries. You need to bring boundaries around you, and that boundaries would determine the kind of people you would look out for to form that kind of social bank or social network that you will need. It's very important, because they are the puzzle that will solve your life problems when the need arises. Now, one mathematician said that if all of us are able to meet the very right person at the right time, society will not have any problem, because everybody's problem will be solved, but the human that we have identified has your solution. However, we know we cannot have that social relationship with everybody. So now the thing has to do with you identifying who really will fix into your puzzle and will help sustain your social bank that you are trying to build. Now, in creating that, now let's look at the strategy. In creating your social network, it is important to know that we have several levels of social network that you will need to establish. We will start from the most difficult one, the big men. Now, we realize that the previous speaker made mention of how he was able to establish a connection or a relationship with a big man. What did he do? He sent a message, and the message was a very short message. Please, let's get this one straight. For us to be able to meet big men and establish relationship with them, that is not where you are going to tell them your family problem. Don't get it wrong. If you meet a very powerful person, you have maximum 2 minutes to establish your relationship and your contact you want to meet or you want to establish with the person. Maximum 2 minutes. And you can take less than 2 minutes. And if you're able to take less than 2 minutes to be able to do that, you would put a very good impression. Why? Because most big men do not have time. And they may not have the time to spare to start listening to your family issues, where your father and your mother started their relationship and how that has affected your school. It's not something they want to hear. They rather want to hear how well you can connect with them. Now, notice one of the things that the gentleman who just spoke made mention. When you are trying to establish a relationship with a big man, you do not start as the first thing he thinks about is what? Who can tell us out of the 68 people?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, you would tell the person a problem that, like a problem that you can solve, that the person will need your service.
That is the solution, or that is the approach, the right approach. But what is the wrong approach that we have been known doing? And we have made that mistake several times. Imagine you meet a minister of state, you meet a CEO, you meet a top-notch executive, a very powerful person, or even you meet the president. What do you think most people will be likely inclined to do?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
People normally present their own personal problems to them, especially financial problems and the rest, so that they will get something.
That is a very wrong approach. And that has been a bane of a lot of problems that we are going through in your social network. Sidney for Hansen, yes, what do people normally do? You also have an opinion. Let's see.
They mostly ask for money or a job or a link to do something for them. Yeah.
Exactly. Please notice this. Notice this. Thank you very much, Sidney. Notice this, that the moment you meet a very powerful person and you start talking or requesting for money, job, opportunities, those kind of things, it means that you are actually going to introduce more burden to the burden that he's already carrying. You already know that most very powerful people have enough and a lot of problems on their head. And a lot of people introduce their problems to them. Aside their own personal problems they are facing, their career problems, their family problems, their relationship problems, that people do not even think about, that these people are also facing problems. Usually, what people do is to burden them the more. What do you think will happen? So when you meet someone who is a big man and a powerful man who has a lot of problems, and you are going to topple up with another problem, what do you think the person will do? The person will start ghosting you, or the person will start blocking you from attempting to form a relationship with the person. So you could likely see that most of the time when you are establishing relationship with people abroad, and you have a native or a cousin or whoever abroad, and all the time what you know doing is, please bring me this, I need money, I need that. You realize that that kind of relationship doesn't turn well. Most of the time they try to avoid you is because you are giving them more problems to solve that they can even handle. So it is important that you realize that every big man that you meet has a problem that needs to be solved. And that problem, you can also carry a solution to deliver to that particular problem. Note this. This is where the trick is. Every powerful and a big guy, or whatever you call it, however you classify it, has a problem. Be it social problem, marital problem, career or corporate problem, political or any otherwise. They have those problems that most of the time, being powerful and then networked or having money doesn't mean they are okay. So those people have those problems as well. So notice, so if you want to approach that person, instead of approaching the person with your problem, you rather approach the person with a solution to a problem that he or she is facing. And that is what the gentleman that spoke earlier made mention about. For you to be able to cut the attention and then establish a relationship with a powerful person, you can only do so by establishing, or right from the start, putting ahead your solution that you have for the problem that the person may have. So which means that it goes back to the earlier statement that we say that identify the people you want to establish a relationship with. And if you're able to identify the people you want to establish a relationship with, you would clearly be able to identify the problems that potentially they may be facing. Now, so for instance, this is a political season. If you would want to meet a very powerful person in a political arena, the most simplest or the most powerful thing you can do is to identify a problem that you think that particular politician may be facing. And then for you to be able to establish a relationship and network, you have to, in 2 minutes, if you are having a conversation with a person, you need to establish the fact that you have a solution for that. That is not where you are going to spill all the solutions. No. Be very strategic, because you need another audience with the person where it will be only you and the person to be able to have a conversation with that fellow. Seek to book for an appointment, seek to look for an engagement beyond the initial meeting that will help you have an audience with a person. And it is very important to know that. So in order to be able to do that, you need to be at the right place and at the right time. Major General Peter Andor, the former Chief of Staff to the Armed Forces, told me that, my son, be deliberate. Be deliberate. Now, being deliberate, I asked him, so what does it mean to be deliberate? He said that you must make an intentional effort in every aspect of your life if you want to achieve that particular goal. So you cannot be sleeping in your room or watching TV and expect that the chief executive of a particular corporation calls you on your phone or probably enters into your room and then have a conversation with you. That's possibly not going to happen. So what would happen is that you need to find yourself at the right place and at the right time. So what are the places and what are the times? The places now would be based on the kind of destination that you want to reach. So if you are someone who wants to establish businesses, it means that you would have to find yourself in entrepreneurial clinic or seminars and shows. And that is where you will meet the top chief executives or business gurus. If you want to be a politician, you need to make sure that you find yourself at places where you can engage politicians. Now you realize that there are programs going on at the Parliament of Ghana. You could find yourself there. The president is cutting a sword, a minister is establishing a program somewhere where you realize that there will be minimal people and you can have a direct interaction. Now, for instance, if you are someone who wants to be a business consultant or perhaps be a big-time contractor, you realize that sometimes you see breakfast shows and programs that goes on in various places. You see breakfast shows, morning shows at various places, big places, Kimpiski, wherever. You can now find a way to buy tickets, no matter the amount that it may cost. You will know that when you get there, you will be able to now establish a relationship with those who matter. So it is very important. So you can find yourself in events, conferences, programs, parties. And you know what? Most of the very big guys who we know interact with themselves at funerals. Are you aware that people who would want to seek favor, who would want to establish communication and relationship with big guys, usually find themselves at the funeral of that big guy? During that moment, you will be able to have an interaction with the person. Some people choose to do golfing Others choose to do swimming. Others choose to find themselves at pubs or joints, churches, places that they can meet them. Whichever way works better for you, whichever area works better for you, that is where you are supposed to find yourself. Now, establishing the contact. In doing so, we have already said that you do not want to engage them more than 2 minutes. In whichever way you would want to establish that relationship, you do not want to do that. So in able to do that, you must have your words very fast. Now, you will need to eliminate middlemen and PAs, secretaries. In order to be able to do that, you should know the words to say. So assuming you want to see a CEO, and you go to the particular company and they tell you, do you have an appointment with the person? And you said no. Most definitely, you will not be allowed to enter. But if you are going to establish a communication or a relation with a person, we are not telling you to lie, but you need to be very smart and adaptable. You need to be able to understand the game. And the game is that introduce an idea that will let the CEO know that you can only speak with the secretary know that you can only speak with the CEO. And it is very important that you meet the CEO because it will inure to the benefit of the company, or it will inure to the benefit of whoever you are going to meet. Let the secretary realize that if he's unable to engage you or open the door for you to meet the CEO, it is something that would cost the company or will cost the CEO. That is not a threat. Don't say it in that way. But establish your statement in a way that perhaps maybe CEO of Busy Associate would like to see you. It's about a solution to a company, or it's about a meeting that he wants to discuss some opportunities with you. Simple, you are done. So you don't have to now threaten anybody. If you don't tell me to see your boss, I'll do this. No. You don't go to somebody's office to threaten the person. But if you are willing to see the person and you want to establish that, this is how you go about it. So there are so many ways to go about it, but you need to be very adaptable and smart in doing so. Again, realize that all networks are different levels. We've spoken about the hierarchy, the top men, and the top relationships. Please notice that you would need relationships or social bank or networks at each level in your life. Don't be misled that a cleaner, a driver, someone that is regarded a low person in an organization may be the one who may hold the key to your solution to a problem. Now notice this, most of the times when you go to several corporations and organizations, many people do not regard and respect people who are on the lower ranks, either a messenger, a cleaner, or a secretary. But have you realized that these are the very people who can enter into higher places that even a manager of a company may not be able to enter? Now, every morning, a cleaner enters into the CEO's office to clean there. And so most likely, the CEO will identify the cleaner. Now, let me give you a story. I watched a story where a young man who got a managerial position in a company entered into a company. And when he was entering his office at his first day of reporting, another man called him, "You, come here." Noticing that that man is a driver in that company. The guy got very furious why he was being called, "You, come here," by a driver, using the hand in inviting him. He got a bit annoyed. But on a second thought, he asked himself, okay, what could possibly be the reason why he's calling me this way? So let me be open-minded. He approached the gentleman. When he approached the gentleman, he asked him what is the reason for his invitation. He told him he's just asking of his position and whatever he's coming to do in the company. So he explained to him, Then he patted at his back and told him, go and then work harder. So the guy walked off very angry. How can you, a driver, call me a new manager in the company? We hear you come here after having a conversation with you, patting at my back, telling me, go and work more harder. So he told his colleagues that he had met, the other managers, on the breakfast the following day. Do you know what the managers told him? They asked him, who is that person who called you? And he mentioned and described the person. Now, what they told him is that, you, that gentleman runs this company. They said, how? He's a driver. He said, yes. But he is the right-man hand of the chief executive of the company. So the man, the following morning, when he saw the driver again, this time around, the driver didn't call him. He went himself and greeted him. Good morning, sir. Now, this is what it means. Now, what it means is that there are a lot of people in society that we meet may not be having the codes, they may not be having the higher portfolios, but they may be as powerful as you can never imagine. So it is important not to undermine and underestimate everybody or anybody. In fact, if you are someone who is strategic, make sure that every company that you work in or you work in, make sure you establish a great relationship with the security, with the cleaners, the janitors, the secretaries, because simply put, they are the people who are having the very direct links with the top management without you noticing. They can have a word. Usually a secretary will hold the bag of the chief executive or director when they are coming. She can put a word for you. So another way of establishing relationship is noticing that there are people whose worth are more than what we can see. And for that matter, we want to respect, appreciate, and love everybody that we meet along the way. Now, how do we maintain relationship? We have now identified various means that we can establish, create a social network. How do we maintain it? Now, to be able to maintain it, it's just like Jesus's word that he narrated, that when a weed actually grows up within a tree or a plant, we don't cut the plant and then the weed together, but we allow it to grow to a point. And once it grows to a point, now we are able to now see the plant aside the weeds. It is important that we uproot all sort of manner of weeds around relationships, which are the seed that we planted. It is important that we have to water the plants the seed that we have planted. To be able to water it, it means that you'd have to serve. You can only serve the people that you meet. We have already identified that you need to identify their problems, and based on the solution that you give, you'll be able to establish that relationship with them. Very important. Now, let me tell you, there is one powerful man in this country whom around 1 p.m., almost 11 to 12 p.m., I was sleeping. And a friend of mine who works at Bui Power Authority, a manager there, called me that powerful man's hotel's power is off. And they are trying to reach the regional or the district engineer within that district to put on the lights so that the visitors the man has at the hotel will be able to enjoy. Now, these visitors were a group of powerful people who are in a fraternity, and they were having a conference and a meeting at that hotel. So then this man, noticing that his generators were not working at that time, had to consult the lady friend that she has. Now, this is where the lady friend called me in. Now, the question is that if this man who is as powerful as being at the Jubilee House is unable to identify someone who could have solved the problem right away for him, simply because he knows the MD of the distribution company, and he called the MD and the MD couldn't pick. So now what does he do? Because he does not have the lower rank relationship, now it becomes a problem and a challenge to him. I don't work with ECG, but I was called to establish a link and a relationship with someone who is managing that particular district. Based on the relationship that I have built over the years, I was able to establish contact, and that problem was solved. Now notice this. After having that problem solved for the man, he called me the following day and thanked me. When he thanked me, I did not ask for anything, did not talk about anything. The next thing is that, how do we further solve the problem that you are having? Let's go into it and let me help you solve it. Now I have to develop a proposal in solving the man's problem for him. Eventually, that based on that relationship, I was able to establish a lot of rapport with him. Now, it is important that you notice that if your colleagues have not identified you to be someone who can solve problems, most likely they will not call you to solve a problem when it comes to these networks that we talk about. And that is the power of the networks I made mention, that no matter how powerful you are, you may need relationships which are the lower bottom. Another experience or a narrative where another powerful person also from the same Jubilee House who needed the brother who was traveling the following day, needed to undertake a COVID vaccination. That particular friend called me, and when he called me, he was asking of how he can get access to that. And I told him, look, but you are from the Jubilee House. Why are you calling me for such a meager solution? You can just pick a call and call maybe the Minister of Health or the deputy or whoever it is, or a director of whatever health district that there is, to establish that. I said, Charlie, it's not straightforward as you think, but I know that you can help me. Within a matter of 30 minutes, I was able to establish a relationship for him to leverage on, for a nurse who does that to be able to do that for him. Now notice that not all powerful networks, like I said, is always the solution. But based on the relationship that you can build, even at the sub-bottom relationship, it can help you to maintain even the powerful networks that you have. So you have to remove the weeds. The weeds are the relationships that can go bad. So there are times that people will say bad things about the relationship that you have with people. People can spoil you, backbiting, all sorts of things. You need to rise above that. And to be able to rise above that, there is a need for you to be more mature in handling those relationships. So it is not everything that you respond to. It is not every allegation that you hear. There are some of them which are traps, which are set for you by people who would want to restore or destroy that relationship that you have established. It is important that you do not become paranoid and respond to every allegation you hear or you hear in the context of that relationship. Some of them you would have to apply SHS. I call them see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. Prosperity has a way of resolving a lot of issues that comes on board. Once you have your integrity intact, you have your personality and character intact, the character posterity will solve a lot of the problems that will come. It is important for you to identify that. Time solves a lot of the problems. The last thing we want to talk about is to leveraging on it. Before that, you need to overcome disappointment. To be able to overcome the disappointment, there's a need for you to realize that it is not all these relationships that can benefit you directly. Some of the relationship can take as much as 10 years, 5 years, before you can reap the relationship. So do not be in a hurry to plant a seed and tomorrow you expect a mango to ripe for you to eat. The relationships are built over a long period of time. It is important for you to understand that. Once you are able to understand that, you'll be able to appreciate that leveraging on it will take time and you do not reap where you have not sown. So having noticed all this discussion we have today, first, be able to create a relationship, whichever way you want to do it, but have a close-knit circuit. Second, try to maintain those relationships by being a servant, serving the needs of those relationships, whether the person is powerful or the person is seemingly not so classified as a high person in society. And then do not reap what you have not sown. Make sure that what you have sowed, you have watered it well. At the time of harvesting, you'll be able to harvest. And this is a few conversations we would like to have. And I believe strongly we've made some kind of establishment or a contact here. When we are done with this, you can ask your questions. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was a really, really powerful session. Very, very engaging, very interactive, very informative. Thank you so much, engineer. Of course, our engineer has delivered. That was very, very powerful. I think he said a lot about networking. I personally learned so much as well, that your network is equal to your net worth. Very, very important. And that amongst the 5 closest people, those are the people who would have a direct influence on us. So that's very, even during your presentation, I ended up naming the 5 closest people to me, and I need to see, your network is really equal to your net worth, which is very, very important. So I think he said a lot, so we'll take a few questions and then we'll move on to our next speaker. I think we have one last speaker for the day, so just 2 more questions and we'll have another session very soon. 2 more questions as they prepare the profile of the next person. So I'm sure we have a lot of questions. Myself, I personally have questions, but I would like to give the floor for anyone with, okay, so Ernest, you've raised your hand. Can you please ask your question?
Actually, mine is not a question, but it's an experience from this who you know and who knows you. Just this recently NSS posting that is going on. I'm also into electricals and electronics engineering. I just completed at Akantanapia Minka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneur Development, formerly UEW. So just this ongoing NSS posting, I've been to 7 places. 7 different places, but all of them, they have rejected me, all because of who
do you know?
Yeah, just recently I went to Bogatanga. There is this mining company called Cardinal Amdini. We didn't get a chance to So it's important, engineer. May God bless you for opening our eyes on this networking. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that contribution. I think most of us would have that. Who do you know? Who knows you? I have plenty. I know for one, our founder has like 33 experiences about who knows you and who do you know. So I think while you have your hand raised, can you ask your question if you have any questions or contribution?
Okay. My question is, please, you mentioned that we have different levels of networking. I think the first one that you mentioned is, you said that the first one is the big men. So can we also have the other levels?
Good question. The small man.
Thank you very much. Moderator, can I proceed with the response?
Yes, please proceed.
All right, thank you. I believe along the conversation, I made mention that there are people who may be classified within the middle level and the lower level. The middle level are people who may not be the top chief executive, the minister or the vice president or whatever, but those are people who are directors and managers of organizations. Those are SME owners here and there. Those are professional group members. So an engineer, a lawyer, a pharmacist here and there. These are relationships you can establish. In most often than not, we find ourselves in problems that these people are the people who can directly solve those problems for us, not the minister or not the chief executive who can solve that problem for us. Notice that I gave a scenario of a very powerful man in this country who has to call me through another person to solve a problem at his hotel. And this man was very powerful by calling the ECGMD. However, he couldn't pick. So the problem was solved through the middle class relationship that I had established. So there are three categories: the top class, the middle class, and then the lower class. So the lower class also has to do with who I mentioned. It could be any other body. It could be any other person, someone who sells at the market, a driver. It could be a messenger. It could be someone, a neighbor. And it could even be your colleague that you stayed in the same class. Very, very important. Let me give you an example. Some years back, I used to work at the university, K University. Now I realized that some of our students got to a point where they were not getting national service attachment. So I met one of my students who was a computer engineering graduate, and he was posted to do traffic warden, and he was crying. So I asked him why he's crying. He said, oh, that is the situation he finds himself. He's not interested. Now I have to open the guy's eye by asking him that, did you notice that in your class, you were having a GRICO chief executive son in the class? Are you aware? Then he said, no, sir. Then I said, okay, very good. Now, I'll give you his number. You call him and mention my name. And when I gave the number to the guy, I called the guy to help him. And at the end of the day, he was able to support him by getting his national service at GRICO. Now, most of your classmates that you are with in the various schools can be classified as lower level or lower class networks. But they are also having networks and relationships that you would realize that they are also as powerful as the ones that you could also establish at the top. So we call it nodal networking. So the nodal networking is that you may not have the networks as much at the time, but you could rely on the networks which are established on your same level. It's very important to identify that. So that is something that we can also classify work that we have. Thank you. Moderator, please, I'm done.
Okay, I think we've lost Priscilla. Okay, so I would want to stand in for her. Thank you, Engineer Bismarck. Thank you so much. Is there any other question before we go to the next speaker for this event? Okay, so I believe that everyone has been answered. Those who asked questions, I believe you've been answered. Okay, all right. So we are going to our next speaker, who is in the person of Edna Frimpong. A minute, let me share the screen so that we... Okay. Hi, Edna, are you there? Okay. So the next person is Edna Frimpong. I would want to read her profile. Edna Frimpong, aka the Shoemaker Girl, is a pioneering entrepreneur, revolutionizing the shoemaking industry. As a trailblazer, she has authored the motivational book, The Shoemaker Girl, and also a TEDx speaker, co-founded Ahofade, a distinguished handmade fashion brand showcasing Ghanaian craftsmanship. She has earned the prestigious 40 Under 40 award in the shoemaking industry. With a strong educational background in communication and public relations, Edna leverages her expertise as a renowned LinkedIn creator to empower females in entrepreneurship. Through mentorship and coaching, she unlocks the potential of the next generation. Beyond her craft, Edna inspires and uplifts, leaving a lasting impact on those around her. Edna, are you there?
Hi, good evening.
All right, take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I've been here from 5 p.m. and I've been enjoying all the conversations from finance to
Okay, so let's welcome
entrepreneurship.
Edna.
Thank you. From finance to entrepreneurship to networking. Yes, I've really enjoyed myself. And I hope you also did. Thank you all to all our speakers.
Thank you.
Yes, so as for NSS, what next? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Edna. We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. As for NSS, what next? So my job is simple here. I'm into the entrepreneurship space. And so I know some of you are done with your national service. And so you are thinking, what's the way forward? What's next? I know some of you want to enter into the entrepreneurship space, some the corporate space and all that. So those who really want to enter into the entrepreneurship space, I think I came for them, one way or the other, because that's where I'm also into. And I know you save some small money if you there to venture into a business. So let's go there. Now, people enter into entrepreneurship without knowing that there are some realities in there. And if you've read this book before, Awakening the Entrepreneur Within by Michael Gerber, and you've read E-Myth by same author, you get to realize that we have realities when it comes into entrepreneurship journey. And then we also have the dimensions of every entrepreneur. Today, we'll go through the 5 realities of every entrepreneur. When you enter into the business, that sector, the realities, what you will see, we'll go through that. And then maybe when I'm done, I'll add some bonus tips and talk a little more about the dimensions of an entrepreneur, which is fair enough. So yeah, thank you. Now, no more talks plenty. So let's move to the first stage, the first reality of an entrepreneur I'm going to share with you. So there are 5. And you need to take it as it is. So that when you venture, eventually find yourself in the space and you see those things coming up, or you should expect to see that in that field you are in. So yeah, according to Gerber, the first reality an inventor do what? He lives by asking questions. And so you are there, you want to enter into the entrepreneurship space, you want to start business and all that. Yes, we are waiting for you. But you should make sure you're coming up with something unique. Something you're looking for problems, gaps, opportunities, and you leverage on that. I mean, people don't celebrate anything or mediocres or just any ordinary thing. They celebrate wow things, wow extraordinary things. So you want to enter into that field. Make sure that the idea you are bringing on board, the product you are bringing on board, whatever package, service you are bringing on board is unique. That is simple as that. So to anyone who wants to venture into entrepreneurship, or you're already in the space already, your idea or your product you are bringing on board must be unique. You'll be celebrated when you have that unique. People will laugh to, what is this? What is this idea? And so sit down, do not push yourself, rush yourself into a system of doing something. Come and selling the shoes up. Let me go and sell this wig on Instagram. What if it is not yours? Because everybody's selling, so I have to sell some. No. Sit down. Talk to yourself. Talk to your God. Know yourself. God placed something in everybody's IQ. So what you are good at, God can put an idea into your mind, and that could be your next big deal, or that thing that will blow you or take you to the next level. All this market and people that we celebrate them, they all came into the system with their wow idea, and we all jump into it. And so don't rush through life. Sit down, go back to the drawing board, your secret room, and ask yourself, ask God, what do I have that will announce me to my world? And so Gerber is saying that the first reality that you need to take note when you enter into the entrepreneurship space or as an entrepreneur is that an entrepreneur is an inventor. You invent. Your ideas must be unique, something creative. So you need to get that. The idea must be unique. Your product must be unique. And so we are always complaining of Apple not having the same phone. Yes, they have the same phone model, but you could tell from there'll always be something unique about new iPhone product. Their watches, their phones, even the same phone, but there'll be something different that will distinguish from the other phones or the other product. That is exactly what my Michael Gaba is saying. That yes, you are coming to sell tomatoes, but what makes the tomatoes different from the others? So yeah, an entrepreneur is an inventor. That's one reality you should know. The second reality is that entrepreneurs do not buy business opportunities. So it's in line with the other one, but they create them. So you see, what we do here is mostly that people create businesses, set up businesses, then, oh, come and help me do the business, run it. And you think, oh, I'm entrepreneurship. Technically, that's a manager or a technician. You are managing somebody's business for the person, meantime. And that one is for what? Business opportunity. Somebody has created them for you and you are working on it. That's fine. But he's saying one reality you should know is that entrepreneurs do not buy business opportunities. What they do is that they create their own. And that's why I said you either create your own by identifying a problem, you look for a gap, or you look for an opportunity and you fill it. Hope making some sense. And then the third reality is that invention is contagious. People love to experience the original business idea or product. So what he's saying is that your invention or your idea, your product you're coming aboard is contagious, which means people love to experience the original business idea or a product. People, like I said, people want to always see something new. If I always see Ama without any new version of Ama, I'm okay. But the moment I see Ama with a new version every day, I'm excited. And that's how human beings are. That's why anytime there's a new product in the system, we are all jumping on it. When a new one comes, we moved. That's exactly how it is in the system. Every day and then, there are a lot of product things happening, pushing into the system. So what can make your stand? So know that what the industry you are coming inside every day, if it's about shoes, everybody's making shoes, selling shoes and all that. So what is making yours different? And he's saying that one passion of entrepreneur is that we get passion or we get happy when people love our product. If a performer performed on stage and you don't clap for that performer, that will be the end of the performer. He will not laugh. He will just move away. But the moment the person is performing and you're clapping, he feels fulfilled. He's happy. The same way, if someone comes to buy a product and the person does not return again, how do you feel? You don't feel happy. Why didn't I get a returning? Why couldn't I retain this customer? And that's one thing that you should expect. That your passion doesn't come from just inventing the new idea. It comes from the delight of seeing the joy, the happiness of people using your product and you are happy. So everybody, anytime you go somewhere, you see somebody wearing my shoe or anything that I made by me, I feel so fulfilled. I'm happy. I mean, you don't have to see somebody using your product and you're sad. I mean, this is my product. It's something that naturally makes you happy. And so if a customer comes back, it means they are applauding you of your good work done. But if they don't come back, then there's an issue. You need to solve it. So if you're having you are about to start a business, or you're already in a business and you're not getting customers coming back, then there has to be a problem. So create a system where you can retain them. They keep coming. When they keep coming, so it means they keep applauding you. They keep loving your product. So he's saying that invention is contagious and people love to experience the original business idea or the product. Entrepreneurs' passion doesn't come from inventing a new idea. It also comes from the delights of other people as they gladly experience your idea or your invention. And so whatever product or services you want to start, you want to venture, make sure that it's something that will make people, your customers, come back again. And the more they come back, the more you are happy. The more you know that, yes, you're doing something better. But the more you realize that they're not coming back, then there's a question mark there. Yeah. And then reality number 4. Reality 4, we talk about, for you to measure, he's saying that for you to see that, or for you to know that you're doing so well in your business as an entrepreneur, you can only measure your success by growth. And that is simple as that. My company, Ahofade, has been in existence for 3 or 4 years. And every week we meet and discuss our weekly progress. Every year we sit down and do that. And we always have a target. Every month we have a target of sales we want to achieve. And yearly and all that. So our socials, we have a target. And so very soon we'll meet again for the yearly one. Every week we meet and discuss the progress. And every year we'll meet. When we sit down and we check our progress, and there is a growth, and I'm definitely know that there's a lot of growth that has happened within this year, we could term our progress as successful. And that means, well, there's a growth. So if you're in a business for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 months, 1 month, 2, and you're not seeing growth, then there's a problem. You can only measure your success by growth. If you're not growing, there's no expansion. First, I was not having even though I was having a small shop where we make the shoes, and later I had a factory where we make the shoes. That was a growth. And then this year, God willing, I had a showroom, and that's a growth. Showroom where our finished products are being stocked at. That's a growth. First, we're not having bulk orders, doing like 200, 500 and all that. But God has been so good. We had that contract. And that's a massive growth, because the first you can get just one order. But now, apart from getting that big contract, within a month, our sales target of 20,000, we are able to achieve that. And that is a massive growth. So if you're in a business, you say something with your money, your NSS money, and you're in that business and you're not seeing growth, then why are you into that business? And a business should be treated like a machine that needs constant improvement or maybe maintained. It's like a car. If you have a car, you don't maintain the car, it will collapse. The same way as business. You need to check the business, your shortcomings. People don't have, today we're talking about the structure and all that. But if you're having a business, even a small startup, something small you are doing, and you're not checking the loopholes, what can be done right, what cannot be done well, and you just leave it agile, well, let me just post, let me just do the things and you're not seeing growth, that is it. And so we're telling you that one reality you should expect is that we measure the success of your startup or your business by growth. And so if you're not growing, then check your dealings well, or check yourself well, or check whatever you are doing well. And then the last reality is that everyone possesses the ability to be an entrepreneur. They are not born. Nobody was born to be an entrepreneur. Nobody was born. Not just some people are born. Everybody can be an entrepreneur. You just need to develop the entrepreneurship skills. There's problem solving, the resilient spirit, because if you're not resilient, trust me, you will stop the thing you are doing. The adaptability, you should be able to adapt when there's a trend, when there's something up in your industry or whatever you are doing. You should be able to make changes. If you don't have all these skills, you will fade out. So yes, even though entrepreneurship, nobody was born with, there's certain qualities or skills of entrepreneurship you need to learn in your journey. You're about to start that business. Whatever the business is, you need to have some simple entrepreneurship skills within you that will help you. If you don't have the resilient spirit, trust me, you will give up. You will give up. So you need to know that as well. Entrepreneurship are made, they are not born. Nobody was born. So don't let anybody confuse that. Hey, I can't be entrepreneur. Everybody can be. Everybody can be. Now there's something even called intrapreneurship. So it's a concept where employees in the corporate setup are allowed to use their skills to create something in the company, or be proactive, or do something for themselves, or help the company growth. So some people call it, you are in the company working, you're having your own side business. That's different. But this one, in the company itself, the manager or the boss allows you to explore your skills, use your skills to work, to make the company grow. Like, if you go to the foreign countries, that helps them a lot. They allow the entrepreneurs, the employees in the company, work as if the business or the company belongs to them. And so, you see, in this country, when you're working for somebody, you term the company as, oh, and you made so let me do it anyhow. But in that part of the world, it's not like that. The employees are allowed to work as if the thing belongs to them. And so if they have something idea, they don't keep it. They just want to share. They want to bring apps, do things, application. And that's something, if you don't want to enter into full entrepreneurship and you're into the corporate setup, you can utilize on. It will help you grow professional-wise and for your own good. It's called intrapreneurship. So please take note of that. And so, yeah, entrepreneurs are made and they are not born. You should get these. So don't let anybody deceive you that, yeah, entrepreneurship is for a certain class of people. No, everybody can do that. If you have the qualities or the skills that you need in the journey, like I think the other speaker talked about, he talked about a lot of skills you need for the entrepreneurship journey. If you have those ones, you can survive in that space. And so these are some of the realities. One, I talk about the fact that entrepreneurs are inventors. Secondly, I talk about the fact that we do not buy business, we create them. I talk about the fact that we get our joy, or our passion comes from when our customers buy and return back. The more they come back and they see our product, we see them using our product, we are happy. The same as performers perform on stage and they get claps and they are always happy. You need to get that. And then you need to treat your business as a system and not a person. Don't treat your company as a person. Treat it as a system, so that when you're not there, the company can still work out. And then the fourth one, I talk about that entrepreneurs, for you to determine the growth of your business or your startup or whatever, you determine that by growth. If you're not growing, then there's a problem somewhere. And then the last one is that entrepreneurs are made, they are not born. And so these are 5 realities I could share with you. So if you are entering the entrepreneurship space, note that you should have this at the back of your mind, that you're going to see this thing running as an entrepreneur. You will see them. So when you are seeing them or you're experiencing them, you are not feeling afraid or scared, but you know that, yes, they are bound to come. And the tips I'll give you, the bonus tip I'm giving you, is the dimensions of an entrepreneur. So we have 4 dimensions of an entrepreneurs, right? And the 5 realities I talk about, the 5 things I talked about earlier, they are expressed by the dimensions of the entrepreneurship I'm going to talk about right now. So I've talked about the realities, And I'm going to talk about the dimensions of entrepreneur. So these are so if you tell me that you're an entrepreneur and I see you, you need to have these 4 personality traits in you. So when I see you, tell me that Obed is an entrepreneur, or Priscilla is an entrepreneur. The 4 dimensions of entrepreneur must be seen in that person. It's called the personality trait. There are 4. And these 4 is where the realities are being expressed through. So 1, entrepreneur must be a dreamer. Every entrepreneur must be a dreamer. And so you want to have something, you want to set up a business, or you have an idea. Only you know your vision. You know what you want to do. You have the mandate. God has said, okay, go and do this business. God didn't talk to me. He talked to you. So you have the dream. You have the idea. You have the business vision. You know where it's going. And so if you are an entrepreneur and you don't have a vision, I don't know where you are going. So you need to have that aim. That is where I'm taking this business to. You only had the dream. You saw the dream yourself. The thinker didn't start a dream for you. You saw it. So you know where your business is going. That is one dimension, one trait of an entrepreneur. He's a dreamer. She's a dreamer. The second one is a thinker. Yes. You dream, and then the thinker will come in and make sure he implements or give you ideas on how to do with a dream. You have a dream. Oh, I want to be my product needs to maybe be around or travel around across all the world. Now the thinker will come in and say, how do we make sure that your product travels all around? And so yes, you have a dream. You've dreamt about having a business that goes all over the world. Now your thinking trait will need to come and will play out here. Okay, how do we do that? The tactics, the strategies, all the plans, all the ideas you need to make sure the dreamer's dream come to pass is who the thinker is. So you cannot just be an entrepreneur and being a dreamer and just end it like that. You need to be a thinker as well. You need to be a thinker as well, because a thinker will makes the dreamer's dream a reality. So we talk about the dreamer, and then we talk about the thinker. Now the third dimension, or the third trait you should know, is the storyteller. You have a dream. The thinker comes in, gives you the strategy, plan, all that, blah, blah, blah. And then we come in with the storyteller. Now the dreamer had a dream. The thinker also bring in the plan, what we're supposed to do. And then the storyteller now conveys the dreamer's thought, the dreamer's idea, the thinker's thought into reality. And so the storyteller is like a performer. What do? They try to evoke excitement when the dream is conveyed to the other people. And so here, as a storyteller, as you was an entrepreneur, you dig deeper into your dream, the dreamer's vision and the thinker's formulation, and then you look for creative ways to tell the story. So the storyteller cannot test his reality without people. And so if you are an entrepreneur, you just don't have to be just a dreamer, not only a thinker, you also have to be a storyteller. How do you convey your message? How do you tell your story? Lately, people don't just buy product. They are buying the story behind the product. They're not just buying the shoe. People don't just buy the Apple phone, because when they are using the Apple phone, it comes with prestige, with some class. And so whatever product, idea you are selling out, whatever thing you are selling to the people, there has to be a story. People don't buy shoes because I'm the only person who makes shoes. No. People buy shoes because of the story behind. A young girl will be making shoes in an industry where we don't find women into that. A lady who is a first-class student making shoes. So these stories, and how I project these stories, will make them buy these shoes. So you need to be a storyteller, be a dreamer, be a thinker, and then last one, you need to be a leader. As an entrepreneur, you have to be a leader, because you're going to combine all this storytelling, dreamers approach, and a thinker's approach to put them into what? Work. You're going to make sure that everything works perfectly in the company. You assume responsibility from the dreamers, the thinker, and the storytellers move, and make sure everything is working for you perfectly. So one person, you need to make sure you're possessing that dreamer quality, that thinker quality, that storyteller quality, and that leadership quality in you as an entrepreneur. And then yes, finally, I mean, these are what I have for you today. You need to know, as you're coming into the entrepreneurship space, there are realities you face, and then there are dimensions of every entrepreneurship personality. You can be a dreamer, you can be a thinker, you can be a storyteller, and you can be a leader. So once you are venturing or you're already in the system, any idea, anything you are running, make sure you see yourself in these 5 reality. Make sure you see yourself in this 4 dimensions, and then again, make sure that you're going to experience or see these 5 realities I just talked about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Edna. Thank you very much. We've heard so much from Edna, a lot of them, about being an entrepreneur and the realistics of being an entrepreneur. So she said a lot that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a storyteller, you need to be a dreamer, you need to be a thinker, you need to be a leader. And I think one of my key takeaways is the fact that entrepreneurs are made and not born. That means regardless of wherever time that we find ourselves, whether you are down with service, starting service, final year, continuing students, wherever you find yourself, you can always learn from scratch and become a great entrepreneur and then make money. She's giving us all the tea. But I think if you have any other concerns, you can personally text her. Edna is very open. She's available on LinkedIn. You can just search her name, Edna Frimpong, and then send her a DM. If you want her to mentor you or give you any further information, you can just reach out to her. Her doors are always open. So we'll take 2 questions. If anyone has 2 questions, any question for Edna to respond to. If you have questions from the previous sessions, you can add them. So that we can respond to them and then move on to the closing of the event. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, Awal. I think Awal has been very, very active in this program. So Awal will find you, and then we're going to give you a special package, because I personally really like the fact that you've been very active and very cooperative during a lot of people to have been very, very active, but I really like that. NS2, thank you all so much. So Awal, you can unmute yourself and speak, and then unless you follow through after Awal is done. So Awal, let's hear your question.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we thank Ms. Edna. Please, you mentioned 2 books. The first one is Awakening the Entrepreneurship in You. The second one that I want you to mention it again, because I didn't get it.
Okay. So Edna, can you mention the second book again?
Okay, so E-Myth, so that's entrepreneur myth. So entrepreneur, then hyphen, then myth, MYTH.
Okay. Thank you very much. How did you get that? Hello. Oh, wow. I hope you got the answer.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you too. So let's hear your question, Ene.
Yes, please.
Okay, Ms. Edna, it's been a pleasure hearing your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah. My question is, how did you track the progress of your company, and also how did you stand against inflations and change of government? Because the field that you are is a field that even big men are following. But I've seen you in the game for a very long time. So maybe you have just a secret about that one you can share with us. Thank you.
Please, the second question again. The first question is how I track progress, right?
Yes, please.
And the second one.
Is how did you go by inflations and change of government?
Okay, so I mean, how did I still be in business in terms of we having had economy and all that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. So the first question, growth. I mean, every company has ways of things they could do to track their progress. So there's something called measurement and evaluation. And that's something so key. In every project you do, at the end of the project, you need to measure and evaluate. And today I was having a program in the afternoon. I was saying that even if you're a social media manager, before you handle that job that you are starting that work, make sure you screenshot or take a picture of the before you came to take charge of the company, and then you keep it and add it to your analysis, keep it somewhere. And then after you also take over and you work for some few years or few months or when you're supposed to make account, you also take screenshots and compare that. That is growth. You use the before to measure your now. And you could tell, okay, in terms of reach, when I came, it was less, but now we are far somewhere. In terms of followership, it was 13. Here, now we have 30. There's growth. That's how I made it. So my company, I mean, my people we have KPIs and metrics to batch. So in terms of social presence or social media visibility, we have the KPIs there. So maybe in terms of visibility, we want to see higher. In terms of numbers, we want to get to this level. They give me a target. And so when I handled my company's page and all that, it was less 1K. But within 2 years, or is it 2 years or 3 years, at least we are almost close to 4 to 5K. And the impressions and the engagements are very high. Sometimes I know because I'm in the picture, it will go far. But I'm like, oh, that's so much growth. And so in terms of that aspect, I know I'm doing so well. And so one day, you can't talk me back there because I have my result to show you that I have worked. I've gotten you the followership. I've gotten you the impressions and all that. And people get to know the company through that platform or the visibility I'm giving you. So you could measure my growth. I could tell them. And I have everything. I have my report. Recently, I was supposed to do my service for a company. And I said, and they're telling me to do a whole visibility and brand communications. Like, before I do that, let me make sure I go and check your company socials and take a screenshot and make sure I do evaluation. Because at the end of my year service, I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys with your board directors. Like, okay, this is what I came to meet and this is what I have done. And I've been seeing some progress so far and I've been writing them down. When it's time for accountability, I'll go and sit down and I'll give them my also result. And you could tell growth. I mean, for you to see growth, it's based on result. It's simple as that. And so if I'm not seeing results, then there's no growth. And so yeah, we use that. And then again, we have targets of sales every month. Every month we want to get like 20,000 sales. And so if every month we are not getting that, it means we need to pull up. And yeah, and times we are getting, okay, we are doing well. We need to push. Okay, so this month like this, where there's a lot of progress. And we also went for exhibition and it should have. And so when we met every week, like every week, we meet once in let's say every Wednesdays in a week. And we meet, it's like, okay, this week we did well. So by next week we'll meet again. And we talk about what happened the whole September. What was our actual sales? What was our actual shoes or products we were able to sell? And that's how we try. I mean, that one day, it's your company will have to sit down, or you yourself have to sit down and bring your KPIs in terms of sales. Did we do well? Per our target? Then there's a growth there. You are growing. That's one way you could do it. And that's how we do that. And in terms of personal growth, you can sit down. I mean, we all have social. If it's about your social presence, you sit down. Hey, I'm not doing well on LinkedIn. No, my followership is so low. My impression is okay. Okay, maybe I have to work further. Work next time. Okay, I want to follow more on impressions. So yeah, I'll work towards my content. And then maybe in terms of maybe the books we've read. I mean, this year I decided to read more books because I realized that I'm entering into a space where I'll be doing more of talking. And you can't go and talk somewhere and you won't talk sense. They won't call you back again. And so I have to make sure I read a lot of books. Someone came to dash me books. And I have to make sure I sit down and sacrifice and read all these books. for my own good. If I hadn't read the book, I won't know that there's something called Michael Gerber wrote something about emails. It's until I had to kill the anger in me and sat down and make sure I read. So sometimes you need to sacrifice for your own good. Then you go, okay, now there's progress. Now I go back to my coach, and she says, I'm seeing progress. You are doing well now. Now you don't speak one way. You have variety because you're reading. And I feel so proud for myself. You get that? So yeah, these are ways you could measure growth. Thank you. And then how are you surviving? Like I keep telling people, if you can't do it all alone, look for people that has the same vision as yours and put your basket together and move together. You can't do it all sometimes. So if you have somebody who has the same vision as yours, you may have the idea, someone has the money, and the person is going the same angle as you. Work with the person, because doing business in Ghana is not easy. Trust me. But like I said, you treat business as a system, not as a person. If not, you might be good. That's why I understand that it's recently I understand why business don't grow up to after 5 years in this country. Within 3 years, they have to collapse. They can't go beyond 5 years. It's true, because there's there's inflation. Today we go to the market, there's increments on materials, and you can't increase prices of shoes every day. They won't buy. So we have to sit down and do our own thing. What will we do so that people will not complain that yes, because it's an external influence. We can't control it. But the one internal issues we're able to control in terms of maybe people to work with. I mean, if you come with somebody, the person cannot align with you, you go, you let the person go. And you look for people that align with your vision and you work with them. So that one helps us. And then, I mean, with government issues, you don't have any say. You don't have any control over it. You just have to find your ways around it and go. I mean, you have a shop, they'll come and take their tax from you. You don't care. All you have to do is that you do your best, you put your things in place. And, I always talk about people. I always tell you that don't do business from just a physical perspective. Commit prayers to it. Trust me, don't just do business physical ways. Everybody has something that backs them. Commit your business into the hands of God, because David saw in the land of that place or whatever, and he still succeed. And so no matter how the economy will go, trust me, God always come through for his people.
Yes.
Wow,
Thank you
thank
so much. Thank you, Edna. Thank you so much. So I think we've exhausted our time. I can see one hand, but Jackie, I can see your hand up. So because of time, I'll just let you maybe text her on LinkedIn, or you can type your question in the chat box as we are wrapping up, so that she can address it for you before we end the program because of time. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all so much for being here. I think we all had different expectations. We had a lot of expectations. Some shared theirs at the top. Some are yet to share theirs. Some wrote theirs down and everything. I hope everyone's expectation has been met. Like I said, we are behind time, but let me just say this. Yeah, I get that it's navigating life after school, but I think, or I'm sure, some of us here, in one way or the other, have been posted to places we do not want to be at. It's okay. It happens. It's not the end of the world. It's only 1 year of your life. I mean, 1 year is a long time, but look at it in a positive light. I had a friend of mine tell me whilst we were doing service, because I wasn't posted to the place that I wanted to go to. I didn't want to be in academia. I was posted to be a teaching assistant. It was very difficult. I didn't want to ask. I wanted to be in mines. I mean, I want money, I want to manage my finances. I want to start a business. So I needed money, and it was very difficult. But that's not the end of the world. Please keep your hopes up. Keep on talking to your friends. Keep applying to roles whilst you are doing your service, because there is hope. My boss has already told me that we are running out of time, so I'll just limit it to this. But please, if you are here and your place of posting is not your desired place, where you want to be, where you expect it to be, please know that it's not the last chance. And do not let people keep telling you, as for this place, if you do service here, after service, you are going home, you're not going to get a job, like assuming you are a teaching assistant, and then they tell you, you did mining engineering and you're a teaching assistant. You don't have a passport to even travel outside, but you're doing teaching assistantship. Please don't let anyone tell you there are opportunities. The whole thing about there's no employment in Ghana, you finish and go and stay home. Please, if you keep thinking like that, that's the only thing that will come your way. Keep thinking the opportunities. If for nothing at all, we keep saying there's unemployment. But even as of now, I know not less than 10 service personnel who have already gotten jobs, even before the paid leave, which is 1st October starts. So please keep applying. Applications really come out for schools, but also for jobs. They really come out in February and March. LinkedIn, Text and Natex, they are very good with these things. They will give you all the tips to find these things. I think we have a webinar coming up. I think our president will give us details about that. But please, utilize your resources. There's plenty of opportunity. There is hope. And lastly, whatever you are given, please do it very well. If you are posted to an MADA and nobody knows you knew people, but you ended up going to the MADA and you are asked to teach KG2 students, please teach them very well. Because I personally know someone who was posted into a place that she didn't want to be. She ended up meeting someone by chance because the person came to take a sheet of paper, like some sort of attendance or something. And then later on, it wasn't that day, but later on, the person just asked the question, do you know anybody who would want to do service in this department? This is 5 months after service has started. So if service started in November, this opportunity is coming in April. And then the person ended up moving to another company, which was in the industry, in the mining industry. And now, before service, the person has retention and has extra offers, job offers aside. So please do it very well. Imagine if this person didn't go. Please, there is hope. If your place of posting is not your choice, don't give up. It gets better. After 1 year, you find yourself somewhere. You also be sharing your story to motivate the people who come after you. So please keep the fire burning. It's not the end. So we'll move on to our announcements. We have a few announcements here that we want everyone to take note of. And so for us as an organization, we take priority in informing our members of any changes that have been made in our organization. So one thing that Negos Hub we're doing to, empower the young people for a thriving future, is that we've introduced a graphic design workshop. I'm sure most of you have seen the flyers around and everything. We've just completed one training and we currently have another one coming up. So we are going to announce the official launch of our graphic design workshop. We're currently doing it. I'm announcing it right now. So we're announcing to you guys that we have a graphic design workshop skills training that we do to build your skills. These flyers you saw for the program, beautiful flyers, absolutely gorgeous. They were all created by people who have been through the training. And usually this comes at a very, very affordable fee. We'll give you all the details as soon as the flyer is out. And we're also excited to expand our offerings to individuals who are interested, people who are in other industries and they want relevant skills in the industries that they find themselves in. So please stay tuned as we reopen our enrollment portal for the next cohort. We will keep you informed just as you found these flyers to be here for this program as well. Another thing is this lady is one of the people I personally admire, the shoemaker girl. When I heard there is a shoemaker girl the first time, I was like, wait, what? A shoemaker girl? It sounded so unique. And it wasn't like what everyone was doing. Hey, I want to go and do this. I want to get employed everywhere. It could be very challenging. Can you imagine a young girl trying to build herself in an industry that didn't really exist for women? And she's done it so well. And look at her now. She's closing over 20,000 sales and everything. Like that is very, very amazing and inspiring. So Edna, we really, really admire you. And we hope that you keep on doing the great work. She has a book which teaches young people how to stay resilient because it's not easy to get this far. And it's available for purchase by anybody who is interested. If you want to place your order, you can contact Abednego, or you can just text it directly on LinkedIn as well. You would get your copy. I think there's a discount for Nego Hub members. Any team member who wants to get this book can contact our publicity head, which is Anthony. Apart from that, we also want to announce the fact that we have a partnership with Sudan Consult and Career Uplift Incorporation. So they provide assistance with birth certificates, passport processing, business registration, and then professional CV, resume creation, and all of that. If you want to join any of these things, now you need all these things, you need them there before you actually need them. If you are going to do your national service, you will need things like your license, get it ready before you finish service. You go for interview, they're asking, and you're like, I'm now learning how to drive. It decreases your chances of surviving. Get your passport ready. It's better to have something and not need it than need it and not have it. So get them started. And Negos Hub is here to help you to prepare for all of these things. That's why we had this program and I give you this information. Get your CVs ready, everything. And Osidan Consult is partnering with Negos Hub to get you ready for all of these big opportunities ahead of you. If you wish to join or use the Negos Hub virtual space for any of your virtual meetings, you can contact our IT team on 059-690-4583, or you can contact us on LinkedIn. You can text our account on LinkedIn. Just send a message and respond to you quickly. Another thing is that we have a membership portal, and currently our membership portal is open to anyone who is interested in growing with us. Usually what we do is we organize events and programs, very, very informative sessions. I'm sure we can all attest to the fact that it's been very, very insightful for this time. And previously we've had programs where we talked about LinkedIn optimization and a lot of big programs that were very, very insightful as well. If you want to join us in any way, you can obtain your membership form on our official website, which is at www.negoshub.com. And lastly, we really encourage everyone here to follow us on all our social media platforms. So maybe for you, you happen to see this link through a friend, but please share the link with your friends as well so that everyone can follow on LinkedIn, and then you receive the pop-up notification as soon as we post the next event. You can be here on time to also benefit as well. So those are the announcements that we have.